Greetings, fellow Sierra Leonean. Greetings to our neighboring country, the Republic of Liberia, and all viewers beyond the Sierra Leonean and Liberian community. Welcome to the Critical Thinking Talk Show. I am your host, Khadija Tichan Nabi. On the community announcement, it's with greatest, deepest sympathy we extend with sympathy to Honorable Hindolo Divao for the unfortunate experience where it gets this past few days. But that could be another topic after this one. We will therefore discuss with national issue. Going back to the today's topic, as a description of the Critical Thinking Talk Show specifically stated that we will not only limit our hands to only the Sierra Leone community, but beyond Sierra Leone community. It is high time we embrace each other as family. It is high time we stop limiting ourselves to just our country of origin, but also stretch our hands to not only our neighboring country, but to the entire continent of Africa and beyond. Our neighbors are to serve as our allies in case of any emergency. Example, I can keenly recall during the Liberia War, Sierra Leone opened its border to Liberia. Many seek refuge in Shaka Stevens Stadium. Did not also stop there. Many homes were open to our Liberian family. Let us ask ourselves, why are we so rich in natural resources, but yet we consider or classified as one of the poorest continents? These are some of the topics that we will address today. How can we claim to be a pan-African, but yet some are still suffering or stuck in the mindset of Islamophobia? Today, let us also give forgiveness, and excuse me guys. Forgiveness. How can we go about to forgive our South Africans for betraying the late man, His Excellency Mandela? Let's talk about who are we to hold accountable when our expectations are not met. In the past, I have urged Sierra Leoneans to wake up. Today, I call on the entire continent of Africa to wake up, stand up, and unite. We must not relent, and we must do so peacefully, with love, with perseverance and determination to see a better Mama Africa. We shall overcome, we can do it, and we shall get there someday. Today should or will be the beginning of a united Africa. One of my mentors, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." In my word, the voiceless will not remember the words of their enemies, but the silence of those of us who claim to be an activist, a pan-Africans, and the list goes on. Another one from the late Maya Angelou. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. In my words, we as a continent, we have encountered many defeats, but we must not be defeated. The words and lyrics of the late Bob Marley. Africa, unite, because we are moving right out of Babylon and we are going to our father's land. How good and how pleasant it will be before God and man. Yeah, to see the unification of all Africans. Yeah, as it's being said already, let it be. Africa, unite, because we are moving right out of Babylon and we are going to our father's land. How good and how pleasant it could be before God and man to see the unification of all Africa. And the list goes on. Before going to today's discussion, I would like to also use this opportunity to extend sincere homage message to the 28 Liberians and Sierra Leoneans, Islamic scholars who lost their lives in the most recent fire accident. As per report from your local journalist, the Liberian made Allah grant each of them the highest of Jannah. May their sins and mistakes be forgiven. Amen. Also, I would also like to use this opportunity regarding our football match, Sierra Leone versus Liberia football match. I would once again like to extend sincere apology on behalf of all peace-loving Sierra Leonean on our recent stadium, Shaka Stevens, involving the players from the Republic of Sierra Leone and the Republic of Liberia. Let's address let us always keep in mind that the 2007 non-aggression patch, which is a promise of our friendship for both countries involved. With that said, I'll pause here for now and bring in our guests. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, 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 Mr. Darlington Collins. Welcome, sir. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 I'm hearing you very loud and clear.
Welcome to the Critical Thinking Talk Show. It is a pleasure to have you here tonight.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your platform. I think it's important that, as a nation and people, especially on the continent of Africa, we just don't deal with issues focusing in our local countries, but we look at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture is the continent of Africa, what needs to be done. Because you see, the issues in Sierra Leone is not just unique, to the people in Sierra Leone. These are the same, issues being discussed in Liberia, all over Africa. These were issues that were being discussed even prior to our time of liberation. So as we move forward within a new millennium with the invention of technologies and fresh ideas of young people, I think it's very much imperative that we focus on two-country history, where we have come from. I mean, success, challenges, and what needs to be done. Where are we? Where have we come from? Where do we go from here? These are questions that we must deal with. So it's a pleasure being on your platform. So hopefully we can share the little we understand about both countries.
Absolutely. I so welcome the idea, and my heart melts to see Sierra Leone and Liberia once again meet for a better mama Africa. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, for many that does not know who or do not know who Mr. Darlington Collins is, give a brief background of who you are and introduce yourself. And for the audience today, I apologize. Usually, I tend to gear towards the local franca, but because we have a broader audience today, I guess it's best of both worlds, In and out, I'm going to go for the Creole until you understand the Creole small. But for majority, for kind of like accommodate the Liberians then as well, it better stick to the English a little bit. So I apologize in advance. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Well, so so to our Salon people, then you can see relax. It is just the culture of assimilation. We understand a little bit of Creole, so feel free and speak. Where we have hitches, we admit that we have challenges. Well, sometimes I don't love to talk about myself a lot. It's very much, it gets to a difficult point where when you have not done sufficient, it gets to a point where talking about yourself is challenging. But yes, Darlington Collins, I call myself retired student leader, and many friends will say, but Darlington, you're a young man, so how come you retired? Yes, I used to be actively involved in the politics of the day back home, whether it is speaking against ills in our society, flagging our injustices, and reaching out for the lowest of the low end of our people, and looking at the bigger picture of the dejected, downtrodden masses of our people. Yes, we've been around. As young men, we started following, taking keen interest about things happening around our country, especially on the continent of Africa. So we drifted into, what you call a politics of Pan-Africanism. I don't describe myself as a Liberian citizen. I describe myself as an African, because just to piggyback on, homage to his glorious memory, Dr. Osaksafo Kwame Nkrumah. Nkrumah said something very strategic. And if all African people can go back and reflect, Nkrumah said that the independence of Ghana was meaningless if it wasn't linked up to the total liberation of the African continent. So it is the same thing. The struggle for social justice in our individual countries, they are meaningless, because if there's no peace in Guinea, if there's no peace in Sierra Leone, If there's no peace in the Ivory Coast, there will not be lasting peace in Monrovia, Liberia. So, yes, I'm an African. I'm following, we follow the political events too in Sierra Leone. We keep our ears open to the debate in Ghana. We follow a lot of tons and tons of issues. So, yes, I'm an African, precisely a Liberian citizen, yes, born and raised in Monrovia, get educated in Monrovia, yes. So we're students, we're still studying, we are not teachers. We try to share the little knowledge we have with our friends. But our quest, what drives our agenda is to have a total and a unified Africa. We don't just see politics as a place where we cater for just the limited few of our people within the continent, within our territorial confine. We look across the landscape. We see what are the issues in Sierra Leone. What do we address the issue about health and security sector reform? As a matter of fact, these countries share in the Mano River Basin. What discussions must be carried out? Where do we go from here? So yes, I'm African. So that's all about me. That's all about me. Enough
Love
of that.
that.
Enough
As a
of that.
matter of fact, I just wanted to say that just by your description of yourself, you already described the Mano River Union, which consists of Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea, and Ivory Coast. So excellent. With that said, let's go right on to but before we go to our similarities, like I stated before I even add you on, I want to use this opportunity once again to extend condolences on behalf of all peace-loving Sierra Leonean, the entire Republic of Sierra Leone, for the 28 scholars that lost their life on the unfortunate fire accident. From what I've came to understand, there's some Sierra Leoneans that had family that unfortunately also died. So we have so much that we share when it comes to the Ebola, you name it, and of course the recent fire accident. So once again, I extend condolences on behalf of the entire Republic of Sierra Leone.
Well, we happy for your solidarity and condolence message. For us, we went further, but we didn't just memorialize the death of these young 28 Liberian Islamic scholars, but we projected an argument to the national government that why it is true that we'll be mourning. For every time when a natural disaster or a calamity will occur in any of our countries, we should be able to set, preventive measures so that never again, with no Liberian, die in fire incident, that again, with no Sierra Leonean be caught up in fire. So we have intensified the advocacy on national government to ensure that, that they focus on more fire preventive measures so that we can prevent these kinds of things. These were young students, some of them could be far more brilliant, than us. Some of them could have grown up to be responsible citizens, lawyer, doctors. So we as a nation and people, we need to do more to protect, the least of our people, especially children. To see that picture, I mean, all of us as Africans were troubled. Those pictures are very horrifying. To see young students, burning into a blazing fire, that's punishment, So we ask the national government to focus on fire preventive measures. The President Weah did something very laudable. The fact that he went to the fire incident and promised to build, the mosques where these scholars went to study. It's a good thing that you go there and build the mosques. But we also call on the Weah administration to move a step further to ensure that you bring into the country what you call regional fire trucks. So that when something is happening within a particular region, the nearby fire region will get to go as the first responder. Instead of us just, we need to decentralize these service delivery in our country. We can just have, the fire truck on the Asthma Street in Monrovia. Again, a lot of Sierra Leoneans, like you said, they might have been affected. Yes, we share similarities, intermarriages. There are Liberian brothers who go out there for beautiful Sierra Leone sisters. They marry, they have children. There's the business of trade between the Liberian, both waterside border, where Sierra Leonean merchants will go there and trade. So there are a lot of similarities, So we all are mourning the death of these young comrades.
Wonderful. Before I share my own similarity that I know of, again, I once again want to also apologize or send out sincere apologies for the incident that happened in Shepherd Stevens Stadium between the two football teams.
Right, 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 right.
I always say that our bond and strength should always surpass our weakness or disagreement. So
Right.
I don't know if you want to come in before I go into our similarities.
You see, sometimes we don't blame these players, Liberian players, we don't blame Liberian players, we don't blame Sierra Leone players, we don't blame our people. But we reflect on what, a very glorious African leader said. That was Thomas Sankara. He said a soldier without ideological training or any political understanding is a potential bandit. So it is the same thing, whether it is Liberian citizens, whether it is Sierra Leone citizens. The fact that we do not reflect on our historical ties and similarities, and we look at these emergence of, previous issues. Soccer is a good thing. I love watching soccer. You guys have some powerful striker, Kamara. That guy is very powerful. So yes, brothers went there to Sierra Leone. We all frown on you guys, but again, it's normal. The soccer match have its own spirit, especially it's very sensational. It's a very sensational game, but we must look at sports, especially as a unifying tool to bring together all of our people, especially where the game of soccer was being played. That stadium is very historic. Shaka Stevens is not no small potato in Africa. When you talk about the emergence of the African Union, these were men who talk about African unity. So it was far more than desecrating the Saka Stevens, stadium where you to throw rocks at your fellow African brothers. But again, whether it is match commissioners, there were mixed reaction from Sierra Leoneans, that match commissioners were being bribed. I think these are allegations too that we must look in and investigate further, especially FIFA. Yes, Liberia won with victory, but again, when another African brother is raising issue about bribery and alignment, especially where they think that that certain penalties that were called in the soccer match were being unjustified. I think FIFA, the world governing body, need to move a step further and investigate. We all regret the situation. But again, the bigger picture here is that we are African people. And, Shaka Stevens is no small man. To play at his stadium and engage in, rock combativity with your African brother is disastrous. So, yeah, the
Thank
game
you.
ended the way it did. I'm glad that Liberia made it to the next stage of the World Cup qualifier. We hope that, Ka Kamara and all of you brothers, especially brothers who play for the Sierra Leone national team, will focus on going back to their training camps and train more Ka Kamara, young brothers who will come back. Hopefully when we meet, maybe in 10 years, the Sierra Leone team, you guys are very powerful, eh? Very powerful team. Yeah, very powerful team.
Wonderful.
Right.
Wonderful. I guess I can say on behalf of Sierra Leone, the feeling is mutual. Both teams are a blessing to the entire continent of Africa. So as you kind of like lay out some of the similarities in terms of intermarriages, I also want to lay out some of our similarities. I want to start first with one of the prestige university where I believe most productive citizens were made, which is the Frabe College, or the Frabe, yes. So for those that are not familiar with the background of Frabe College, I want to like basically share some of it, and then also you can come in and bring in whatever knowledge you also have before we go to other topic. Okay, so in terms of that wonderful institution, which, like I just said, is one of the prestige university that is referred to as the anthem of West Africa, our darling Frabe College. It was called the anthem of West Africa for so many reasons, which we'll go into later on. And I also find out that a lot of prominent Liberians also happen to come to, be produced from that wonderful institution, which you will also give some insight on it. Frabe College, for some of us that are not familiar or about the background of Frabe College, there's no way we can talk about the entirety, but some of the significance is that it was found on February 18, 1827. The first student to be enrolled in Frabe College was Mr. Samuel Ajayi Crowder. Since then, the Creoles, as you know, one of the tribe in the local tribe in our country, and I guess it will be our national language that everyone can relate to, which is the Creole. The Creole followed by other students from West Africa, which also does not limit it to the Liberians, the Ghanaian, the Ivorians, and of course, like I stated earlier, Liberians also attended that wonderful institution, and many more. Many of these students were more in the field of technology and education. Frabe College happened to be the oldest university in West Africa. Frabe College also happened to be one of the very first Western style university that West African ever produced under colonialism. I can't even speak. I'm so excited.
Yeah, the core are these, the core
Okay.
are these words, you know, to confuse us.
Yes. The first Black principal of Frabe College was an African-American missionary by the name
Right.
of Reverend Edward Jones. He was originally from South Carolina in the United States of America. Some of the household names of prominent students of Frabe College was the likes of Mr. Lamina Sankor, and during the period of 1920 through 1922, Mr. Francis Hissa served as a principal. So I'm going to stop there for now. There's so much that I need to share. Uh-oh, Mr. Collington took a break
I'm
for a
ready.
minute.
I'm ready. My bad.
So let me stop here for a minute. That's fine. Whatever knowledge you have about Frabe College, you can also share, and then I'll come back in.
You see, Frabe College, you know, some of us in Monrovia, we could only pray to have the opportunity to study at Frabe College for obvious reasons. You see, when you take pride in African tradition and African history, you get to appreciate your own. If you may, Frabe College can be elevated to a point where within the continent of Africa, it is an Ivy League university. If all African people, especially countries like the African, like governing bodies like the AU, the ECOWAS, if we can pump money into Frabe College and bring it to international standards, we will not just be booming the Sierra Leone economy. We will not just be helping Sierra Leone in terms of educating the masses of its people. We can make Frabe College a center of attraction that students will come from South Africa, will come from Namibia, Tanzania to go to school. Because you see, Frabe College is the second oldest university on the continent of Africa, next to where the first medical college was constructed in Timbuktu. Right after that medical college in Timbuktu, Mali, you look at Frabe College. A lot of prominent citizens, especially Africans, who have gone through Frabe College. And sometimes people say, you know, Darlington, you seem to be one of the very wise men. I also studied at Frabe College, but I studied in extension.
Excellent.
You may not understand, but my political mentor, my leader and teacher, somebody I look forward to for direction, he was a student at Frabe College. He went at the university, he became a student leader. Some Sierra Leoneans here watching may have come across the name H. Buema Famula Jr. So Dr. Famula is a well-seasoned Liberian diplomat who have authored many books. He studied at Frabe College. So it's not just Frabe College. It is about, you know, cultivating some of these brilliant things in Sierra Leone and decentralizing it in Africa. Look at some of your top boarding schools. You're talking about whether it is the Annie Walsh Memorial High School, whether it is the Ivory Academy, where Dr. Famula studied during his secondary education. We need to bring into our own individual countries the establishment of boarding schools so that when students come from different parts of the country, they can be able to go there. What it does is that you decentralize your people. They will not grow up thinking that they are Timini, that they are Mendes. They will grow up in the spirit of unity. That students, no matter where they come from, whether they come from in the western part of Liberia, whether they come from the southern part of Liberia, we need to cultivate the education direction of the Annie Walsh Memorial, whether it is the Ivory Academy, the boarding school, because you see, boarding school have a way of building unity among people. At boarding school, people meet their long-lasting friends. So yes, you know, that's something I always admire about the Sierra Leone education system. We follow you guys. Sometimes if you think we are not watching, there are Africans who are watching, that we can expand from a college to a level where, you see, Africans must get up from that quadrant where we believe that When certain things come from certain quarters, they are the best. That they are, that they are rare. That students will leave for Sierra Leone who don't want to come to Harvard University. Who told you Harvard University is the best university in the world? We can make the University of Pretoria in South Africa one of the best. We can make Fourbe College. We can make the University of Liberia, Africa's oldest independent nation. We can expand these academic universities so that students from Africa will go and get education from their own. You see, Dr. Formula shared this joke with us. He said, right after, I think Kenya, they had an economic crisis. And then a Kenyan professor was teaching at Oxford University. This brilliant African who taught economics came back to Kenya while Kenya was on his path to economic recovery. When the World Bank and the IMF have dispatched, economists to go and study on African economies, you'd be surprised that the student of this Kenyan professor came back to Kenya, Nairobi, as an expert on the African economy. How can somebody from a Western society come and explain to me what is happening in my economy when you have some of the best professors who taught these people at prestigious universities? We need to, so this instructor walked up to this student and asked her, say, "Are you Susan Matthews?" And she said, she turned around. She said, "I beg your pardon, are you Professor Rollins?" He said, "But you are my student at Oxford University." So you see the contradiction. How come the student of this Kenyan professor is now a champion of African economy? We must tap on the little resources of our own. We must bring into the country, economists, what are political scientists from Jala University in Freetown. Bring these brilliant African people, send them all parts of the country to educate the masses of our people. But you see, the typical African man, Saki, if you bring somebody from Harvard University, he treats them different. If you bring somebody from Fourbe College, he says, "Oh man, that man from Sierra Leone, go and sit down. We want somebody from Oxford. We want somebody from Michigan State University." No, we must build a unified Africa where we can invest the meager resources of our people. I tell you what, I'm still studying from Fourbe College. Some of the knowledge you impacted, into Dr. Fambula is still live with us. You see this book. It was written by a graduate of Fourbe College. He has written several other books. Voices of Protest. H. Bama Formula Jr. He studied at Fourbe. He's a political philosopher, highly educated. So we African people, and there's something wrong with our thought process. Bob Marley was never wrong when you say emancipate yourself from mental slavery. When it comes to our own university, we despise them. When it comes to our own healthcare sector, we have no faith in the healthcare facilities. What are we doing, especially in structuring these universities? What governments do we elect to public offices? Do they look at the broad-based masses of our people? Do they try to bring the University of Liberia to a level? How many African people know that the first president of Nigeria, Dr. Nani Azikiwe, was a student in Liberia who studied on a Liberian scholarship? These are things that we must research and do historical recollection of the facts. But again, that is the tragedy of Africa. We hail people from Harvard University, from Duke, from Yale. But you bring this man from Fourbe College, you say, "Hey, these guys, they are not too sophisticated." It's the problem. It is the problem. But yes, Fourbe College, we envy Fourbe College. It's one of these respectable universities on the continent of Africa. And if you may, I look forward to a day in my lifetime where we can, as African people, we can go to the AU and say, "Hey, we have the Timbuktu Medical College. We have Fourbe College. We have the University of Liberia. We have the Legon University in Ghana. Can we invest in resources into our local university? We must not just leave it on local government. We must deal with it from an African perspective." But again, when we go to the AU meetings, Sierra Leone is making her own case. Liberia is making her own case. Guinea, individual country, we take scatter agenda. But if we take the African case, if we take the case of the unification of our people, if we look at how we can ration resources, nobody cares whether you're Liberian or you're Sierra Leone. I do business with you because you are an African. So we must look at these kinds of things. And the war will start to take us serious.
Absolutely.
African Union is not about having just a United
Absolutely.
States of Africa. It's about expanding the era of science and technology. I was watching a local Sierra Leone, China. You will see this brilliant boy. I don't know, he comes from somewhere in Kenema. This boy came up with a brilliant invention of radio technology. His ideas must not be left to die down. There are brilliant African people everywhere. They come up with different inventions. What do we do? How can we build on that delivery capacity?
Yes.
But again,
I
we
strongly
come from a sad place. Yeah? We come from a sad place. But I look forward to a day where all African people can look at our country from a broad-based perspective. That we can look at educating our people, that we can look at expanding in rural areas, that we can look at, you know, having peace and security in the sub-region. Again, Liberia and Sierra Leone. we are both people that were founded by free slaves. What you call the Creole people and the American Liberians. These people were people who were brought back by British and American settlers on different vessels. They settled in parts of Sierra Leone. They settled whether it is Sherbrooke Island. They settled on the Providence Island. We have interhistory. We all were people who came on slavery, whether it was different societies. Now that we have reached a place of independence, do we subject our people to this very plantation mentality? What public officials think about just taking the resources for themselves, or they look at the rest of our people? How do we deal with these issues? So yes, you know, there are more that we can always talk on. Yeah, so let's go forward.
Absolutely. So we are definitely going to elaborate further on those stuff that you just mentioned. Right. So in terms of similarity, let me go back to some. Both countries have the same tribe that we refer to as the Mandingo and Kru. Coincidentally, I happen to be part of the Mandingo tribe, originally from Sierra Leone, but originally from Mali, from the mother side. And I'm sure you know of the Mandingo tribe in your country. So I don't know if you want to further elaborate on that one. And the Kru, we call it the Kru, not in Sierra Leone. So do you want to speak a little bit on that before I go to the next?
Yeah, you see, the Mandingo people, they are one of the tribes that are dominant in West African sub-region. They are present in mostly 15 countries within the West African states. They are everywhere. These were settlers, whether they were business people, they settled into different parts of the West African country. So the Mandingo people, they go far back, you know, especially within our own country. You have a popular Mandingo chief, whether it was King Sao Boso, who said to his own people that you have sold your land and accepted payment for a miracle like doing. Let these people have their land. He was a just king. So the Mandingo people, they are everywhere. Whether it's West Africa, it's one of those tribes that, you know, that you can find, whether it is in Guinea, you can find them in Liberia, you find them in Sierra Leone, you find them all over Mali. So these are good people, eh? They're everywhere. Mandingo people, over 15 countries everywhere. So yeah, that's historical fact. The Kru people in Sierra Leone, you still have the Kru people in Liberia today.
Yes.
I'm a Kru man. So these were settlers who settled along the, So these were settlers who settled along the coastal area, you know, the fishing. They love fishing in a lot. Right. So these are Kru people for you.
So wonderful. Yep. And both also, like I stated earlier, we're part of the Mano River Union Basin. Right. And both experienced civil war and the Ebola epidemic. So I don't know if you want to speak a little bit on that, the civil war experience and the Ebola epidemic. I'm not sure if you were there at that time. For me, I wasn't, but I don't know. Unfortunately, both countries suffer tremendously with the civil war.
Really suffer.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that before I go further.
You see
on the civil war or the Ebola epidemic. Yeah.
When you have reactionaries, especially people who do not understand what it takes of being an African, people who are concerned about acquiring, you know, wealth, whether it is by means of war, whether it is by means of raping our women and expansion of interfering in inter-country politics, that is what you get. So yes, Liberia and Sierra Leone have not enjoyed a very good relationship, especially during the regime of Master Sergeant Sam Nadeau and and Charles Taylor. As you may be aware, in 1983, I mean, former Liberian General Thomas Puyonpa fled to Sierra Leone after he was charged with attempting to overthrow the Dole regime. I mean, on President Taylor, the Sierra Leone the Sierra Leone Armed Forces and the Armed Forces of Liberia, went into a military clash that saw the death of several hundreds of our people. That even moving back to 2007, under the presidency of I think it was Ernest Bakroma, Liberia had to sign an international treaty that never again will these two countries engage in military, acts, whether it is by means of, engaging so Liberia and Sierra Leone now have an international treaty that ensures that both countries must stay clear of using military power in either of the two countries.
In 2007.
Yes, I mean, Taylor, as you may be aware, as part of some of the charges,
2007, yes.
Yeah, from the special International Criminal Court in Sierra Leone, the ICC that was set up, some of those charges that came against Taylor was his interference with the Revolutionary United Front, the RUF. What Taylor was accused of, hiring Liberian mercenaries and getting involved with the Sierra Leone, civil war. These were things that were investigated. These are things that historians are still studying to find out historical facts. But yes, I mean, it was an open secret that Mr. Taylor got involved, especially with whether it was the help of Foday Sankoh. Liberians, during the Civil War, over 40,000 Liberians, refugees, took refuge into Sierra Leone. So when I saw Liberians in Sierra Leone, and when I saw Sierra Leone throwing rocks at their brothers, I said, you guys were just our landlords during the civil upheaval. Over 40,000 of our people took refuge into Sierra Leone during what we call Liberia World War I and World War II. Even the border, the waterside border was closed for international trade. It was banned for nearly 17 years. That border was reopened after Ernest Bakroma took office. So that is the tragedy. Our people, especially where I mean, with the help of during the presidency of former President Shaka Stevens, we lost some of our citizens too, compatriots. Young brothers who took refuge in South Africa with the help of Foday Sankoh and the involvement of Taylor. You saw the arresting of over 900 Liberians who were taken to Padimaro prison. Many of these brothers, some of them died in Padimaro prison. Over 900 Liberians died in prison. You have over 40,000 who went for refuge. So many of them, some of the survivors of Padimaro prison, some of them today, they are in Liberia, they are in national society. Some of them are responsible young brothers. But again, Sergeant Doe felt threatened. He chased General Thomas Puyonpa into exile. Puyonpa went to Sierra Leone in 1983. Subsequently, 2 years after, in 1985, General Thomas Puyonpa came November the 12th to lead a revolution that did not materialize. But the Sierra Leone have always been our long-standing, ally. So that is why we need to get Okram with the history.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's why we need to get Okram with the history.
So you mentioned, absolutely. You mentioned about a document, and I want to give clarity to the audience for those that may not be aware of that. In 2007, under the president of His Excellency, Dr. Ines Baikoma, both countries signed a document that we refer to as the Non-Aggression Patch, or some will refer to it as the Neutrality Patch. This document is a treaty between two or more states or countries that include a promise by the signatories not to engage in military action against each other, as you stated earlier.
Yep.
So that was in 2007.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
And Kroman was, I think he's a graduate of Frobe College. And that's back Kroman.
Yes, yes. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
yes. So now, go ahead, sir. Finish your thoughts. Go ahead.
No, go on. It's fine.
Wonderful. So now let's also share further similarities. It's obvious that we share the same border, both located in the west coast of Africa, obvious. Both experience the same tropical hot climate weather. Both are rich in natural resources as in diamond, gold, bauxite, and iron ore. Both speak English and also have local tribal languages. Voting legal age for both countries is the age of 18. I don't know if you want to come in with those stuff that I just mentioned before we move forward.
Yeah, we share a lot of geographical similarities, especially We are located on the west coast of Africa, whether it is in our climate, our climate posture. Yes, I mean, constitution may be, similar, but, contrast, especially your style of government. We have a legislature, you have parliament, yes, voting age 18. And that is, we share similar, natural resources. Sierra Leone, you guys reach in diamonds and gold and all that. Boxer, Liberia reaching iron ore. I mean, before World War II, Liberia used to be the largest producer of iron ore in the world, rubber and all that. We have a lot of natural resources. So the bigger question here is, have we been able to tap into our resources for national development? History has shown me that in my country, I want to speak for Sierra Leone, that in my country, you have rascals and hustlers who come to power and they're just concerned about getting rich. They're concerned about mortgaging the people's resources. They are concerned about acquiring ill-gotten wealth while they leave the masses of our people in the plantation, in the mines, with nothing. They leave these peasants in shanty towns and impoverished communities. You see, your natural resources, they are intended to be blessings, not curses. But it is a tragedy in Africa where that is endowed with so much natural resources, whether it is our minerals, whether it is in terms of our human development capacity. We do not tap on these, on these potential and expand our countries. So it's a sad story. It's a sad story.
Absolutely. So now, another similarity is that we have low life expectancy rate. Right. So, and you earlier mentioned the health sector. What would you want to further discuss in that area? Why do you think we still suffer in that area in terms of our low expectancy rate? And then secondly, why do we still stuck, since we were from being colonized by the British or the Americans, and yet still we're independent, but yet still we haven't reached to where we all imagine our countries to be? What do you think is the reason behind that?
Well, it is the question of coming of age. I think two countries have not come of age. You see, when natural disaster occurs in a country, it is intended for you to learn the lesson and to avoid the re-emergence, of said national epidemic. You see, in 2014, the outbreak of the Ebola virus disease have exposed the limited capacity of both countries' healthcare facilities, especially whether it was in Sierra Leone, whether it was in Liberia. Why would we have independent nations in our country when we cannot boast of functional ambulances in the country to respond to emergency health crisis? And even right after the outbreak of the Ebola virus disease, what lessons did we learn? We should be thinking about setting up a Mano River Union emergency healthcare response. Within the Mano River Basin, we should strengthen ties in improving access to healthcare facilities. But I tell you what, the life expectancy in Liberia will continue to deteriorate. The life expectancy in Sierra Leone will continue to depreciate if we do not cater to issues like maternal newborn health. If we do not cater to, especially our infant, mortality rate in both countries. We run countries where we do not even have ambulances for our people. Pregnant woman now in Liberia is like giving her a death sentence. When women go to healthcare facilities, when they do not even have access to quality healthcare facilities, when nurses are leaving the clinical wards because they are on strike on the issues of salary, when government people remain insensitive to the plight of these people. Why can we not cater to even the newborns? Let's not speak about the elderly. So Ebola exposed the weakness within our healthcare facility. What are we doing? Where do we go from here? Have we learned the lessons that was taught during the Ebola outbreak? If Ebola resurfaces in our two countries, do we have the mechanism to fight back? No. We are forgetting. We're so quick to forget that Ebola was right on our doorsteps. That our two countries were like laughing stock. We came here in New York crying to international partners to help us. But we have public officials in our country who live in extreme luxury when we do not even have 4 or 5 ambulances functioning. So I think it's a sad story, and more needs to be done. It's not just, the current administration that just took over in Liberia. Well, that's what I always say. When I deal with healthcare even government that transition after another government. What kind of healthcare equipment do we transition to the next regime? How many ambulances do we leave there? What kind of structures do we leave there? What kind of system do we put in place? Doctors leaving, they cannot get paid. The teachers, they all rioting for salary delay. It's a sad story. And if care is not taken, Africa now, when you read the different, every time you turn on the international channel, people laugh at us. We have all of these natural resources. We are endowed with so much natural minerals that we cannot look at and even now thinking about forming the Mano River Union Emergency Health Care. That when there is an emergency, even if it's cholera in Kinnaman or Bo, these neighboring towns and villages, that you will see Liberian healthcare workers responding. That even when it is in the Kwanu Bonin area in Lofa County, what it is in the Cape Mount area, the Kinnaman place in Cape Mount in Liberia, when these things happen, we want to see Sierra Leone healthcare, workers responding. But we have not put mechanism into place. We have forgotten how many of our compatriots died during the Ebola epidemic. So more needs to be done, We hope that we learn the lessons,
Yes. Another similarity is United Nations on September 26th. If I'm not mistaken, there are a set of Sierra Leoneans, concerned Sierra Leoneans that went out and protest. And I also see the obvious of Liberians. You happen to be one of the activists that came out there. Shed some light on that day. What happened and what was your goal? What is it that you wanted to achieve? What, give us some light, shed some light on the United Nations trip.
Right. So as you may be aware, some weeks ago, Liberians and Sierra Leoneans gathered in New York, at the United Nations General Assembly to protest. And then I was saying to a Sierra Leone friend, I said, I thought the issues in Sierra Leone were relatively okay, that now you see the election of Julius Maada Bio, not knowing that these very issues that Liberians have in their country, these are issues too Sierra Leoneans are flagging. The issue about coming down on critical voices, the issue about going after people who are critical of the regime, the issue about rampant corruption, the issue about making political promises on false hope. These were different thematic issues that Sierra Leoneans and Liberians were canvassing and protesting against their different leaders. And then right at the UN, Liberians were on the left, we have our Sierra Leone brothers right near us. And we even forgot that we just throw rocks at one another. You see Sierra Leone brothers giving Liberians, protester water to drink. That was very laudable. It taught me something about the nationalism of our people, that when it's about time that we champion political cause, we do it in oneness. But I tell you why, more needs to be done. I listened to your president when he reported to Parliament. He talked about the expansion of the Lunge Bridge. Mr. President, Maada Bio, you just need not to just talk about these things. I challenge you to go a step further, but actually, let the people start to see the economic deliverables. When you talk about bringing, the Lunge Bridge to international standards, you're talking about engaging the Chinese for bringing over $1.2 billion to expand the issue about public transportation in your country. These things need not to just be words. They must be manifested in action. When you talk about protecting free speech, it should not just be mere bluff at the United Nations where world leaders will be listening to you, but it should actually be manifested in critical voices, whether it is people of the old political party, whether it is people, members of parliament. These people have the right to criticize your government. You see, criticism is good when we listen to the content of the message. When we start to see that when people criticize us, they are against us, no. Sometimes critics help you to see beyond the horizon, because the dynamics of African politics is that when you are an African leader, you surround yourself with all kinds of sycophants. All they tell you, Mr. President, everything is okay, you are doing well, the country is fine. No, George Weah, Maada Bio, the country is not okay. Go and listen to the lowest of the lowest in your community. Go and follow what are the issues the people are flagging. You promise these people hope. So what do you do? Deal with jokes with you guys. If Africa could have a program of, if Africa can have a program of presidential exchange, you come and take our George Weah for 1 week. You bring it back the next morning, eh? Come here and borrow our president for 1 week. You bring it back the next morning. I tell you, man. You know, but that is historical circumstance.
Real coincidence. You know how they say when you're looking from the outside, you never know what's going on in the inside, you know?
Right,
so,
right.
like what you're saying, you were thinking that everything is nice and cozy with Sierra Leone. I was thinking the same thing when it comes to Liberia.
You know,
so
I was reading,
anyhow,
no. Let me tell you this.
I was
reading Bob's speeches. You know, the UN gave us, at this year United Nations General Assembly, they gave world leaders a specific topic. Let me find it real quick. They gave world leader a specific topic. Right, good. So I listened to Malabio. I even read his speech. You know, he was presenting the case for Sierra Leone, even if he was talking rhetoric. Even if Malabio was talking lies through his teeth. I mean, world leaders could listen and probably listen and go there to Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, they asked our president to speak, to address the 70th section of the United Nations General Assembly. This guy went far-fetched from the team, from the topic. They gave world leaders a specific topic. Come here and tell us what you are doing to ending poverty, to reaching the issue of climate change. Our president was there crying, baby, that people in the streets of Monrovia are protesting. They want to bring the government down. The UN is not concerned about your domestic politics. Go and deal with the issue of governance. The UN is not a babysitting place where world leaders will go and cry to say, oh, this, we need this. No, you go at the United Nations General Assembly to present progress report, not to go there and be crying. It's not a place where we go to babysit world leaders. It's a place where world leaders will go and present the case. So, if Africa has a presidential exchange program, come and take our president for a week. You bring him back the next morning.
So you know, because I noticed you were in the hotel.
I was listening to the president of Ghana, and you know, I didn't see Ghanaians protesting.
Oh, they were.
No, they weren't. They didn't protest.
They weren't here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You listen to President Dr. Nana Akufo-Addo. This guy, a brilliant African, presenting serious case, making serious argument.
Nice.
And then when it got to our president to speak, this guy is the biggest crybaby in Africa. He just there crying baby. No, my friend, we are. You saw this woman. You saw how this woman was living. You say you wanted to marry her. Now it is the time to make political love. You can't be shifting blames on the past administration, Mr. Weah. You must fix your country. You can't come to the UN. You bring lone delegates. You bring over. We poor nation. We cannot even pay teachers, healthcare workers. But you bring over 40 to 50 delegates. You have the president who fly private jets in flagrant disrespect of the people. The arrogance of African leaders have got to stop. You guys are leaders of the people. You must answer to their demands. You're not gods. The people didn't elect you to come when Bio is coming. They say, Bio, everybody is parting ways. No. My friend, that is not why you are elected for. You must subject yourself to the scrutiny of the people. A leader who listens to public scrutiny, that leader is bound to succeed. But you arrogant, when people criticize your government, you go after them under the cover of darkness. Whether it is in Sierra Leone, whether it is in Liberia. These are things that are happening right in our region. So we need to unify our voice and increase our advocacy against these things. So yes, we went at the UN, precisely. We went and protested at the GA when we received intelligence report that President George Weah was at a luxurious hotel in downtown New York. And then we told some of our compatriots that it was important that we go at that hotel, that even when they come to developed countries, we must kneel and shame them. We must go there and protest. So yes, we were at Mr. Weah Hotel. We were protesting. We were bringing to his attention his level of political insensitivity. You cannot be a president of Africa's oldest republic when nurses are leaving the clinical wards, but you fly a private jet. What kind of disrespect is that? George Weah, if you want to live like a pop star or a celebrity, Go into your private life. Nobody care about you. If you want to live a very flamboyant life, go into your private life. When you are playing soccer here and making money, nobody care what kind of plane you flew, whether you took the Emirates or you took Delta. Nobody care about that. But now you are president of my country, my republic. When you sleep, the state pays. You fly, the state pays. You drive, we pay. You eat, we pay. But we talk, you don't listen.
So what it sound like? The same problems or the same complaints from Sierra Leoneans wherein they're saying that the president traveled so much that as a result it will take a toll on the economy, obviously, because we have to pay them per diem and all that. So obviously you have the same concern. But I thought you guys were able to do like protests where, from what I was understanding, that it kind of minimized his traveling compared to what he was traveling prior to the protest, or not quite.
In fact, the man have intensified his travels. It's like anytime we protest against this president, this guy is very adamant. You know, I say this. You know, let me get this thought. You know, it's like a pregnant woman who refused to go for paternity we are as a president who refused to go for,
check up. Hold on 1 second. We have a caller. Caller, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the Critical Thinking Talk Show. You're welcome to say whatever it is that you want to contribute to the topic. Welcome. Can you hear Mr. Darlington? Go ahead, caller.
Okay.
Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Kev Hassan. I'm from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Grew up in Liberia.
Okay.
Went to school in Liberia. Lived my life.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, very well, very well.
Wonderful. So go ahead, sir. Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. My contribution to this program, I'm so happy that you have this gentleman on, because there's a lot of misconception about this gentleman and their followers in the Liberian community.
Okay.
They use Sierra Leone as a benchmark to incite their people. They use us to tell their people that Sierra Leone is better. And it hurt me so much that I can hear this gentleman and their people. And he got a female called Yasini and the guy called Henry Costa. They use Sierra Leone as their benchmark to tell the people that Sierra Leone is better. Everything is going on well. And this is one of the most hurtful side of it, where our people are suffering in Sierra Leone. We have the dollar in Sierra Leone is up. We pay, and it's over a million leones for $100. Cup of rice is going up. Things are going. But we are not going on the street to kill our president. They want the president to step down while we're having the same problem they have. And they are misleading. This gentleman who on the phone right now, on your show right now, is misleading their people to go back to war.
So what? Okay, so that's a very strong accusation. So we want you to further make clarity on it. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I took part in the forum.
Okay.
Because I live my life in Liberia. I took part into the forum. Google my name, you see it. I'm there in the forum. These people, there's a lady called Yasini. These people go on and talk about Madam Pio like he brought Sierra Leone back to glory days. And that's not true. You know.
So 1 second, sir. So I think
I got
Yeah,
a, I
one
got
second,
a,
sir.
I got a question for that brother before I respond to him.
So, Mr. Darlington, one second. So before you go further, I think he made it clear at some point he thought that Sierra Leone was doing okay until he started hearing the, the complaints that, things are similar to that of the Republic of Liberia. So go ahead, sir.
Thank you for saying
Excuse
that.
me.
I've been on his show before. I argued with him before.
Okay.
And I told him he argued with me before. And I told him, don't do that to us because we are suffering. Our people, every day they call us. Don't tell the Liberians that because they are putting people. And on December 30th, my dear, they are going on the street to tell the judge we have to step down because Liberian people are suffering. His money is being stolen in Liberia. But let me say this. We have that same allegation in Sierra Leone. The minister are taking $150,000 US, the girlfriend, and took it. We have the same stories. If you don't know the stories of Sierra Leone, don't incite your people based on us. We don't appreciate that.
So,
go on the program and
so
tell
this,
them that,
yeah. So I don't know the type of interaction you both have, but the goal here is for us to strengthen our brotherhood or sisterhood, and whatever it is that you have prior to this platform, we're moving forward from whatever misunderstanding or misconception or whatever it is that we may have had. We are going to iron it out and remember what binds us together. The continent of Africa is more stronger than any of us or any of those in the individual country as a whole. So I want to apologize on his behalf, and I'm also going to have him make clarity on whatever the accusation is. But I want us to go past that difference and look at our strength and our commonalities and focus on that to bring a better.
There's a reason when I saw your show,
yes, sir.
I sent you a friend request.
Yes.
Because I want to take you to partake in the Liberian forum.
Wonderful.
Because you know why? I'm going to call you personally. You know why I'm doing that? I created a thing called the Man River Union. And so we can have a common dialogue with us.
Absolutely.
Because the Liberians, and let me say this to you. And during the summer Kayando, the Liberians went to the same idea, the same thing that summer Kayando was destroying the country. Just deciding more, Liberia and Sierra Leone was better. While we never had electricity for years, we never had electricity. These people went and embraced child stealer and destroyed the country. They went on the street because you know why? I was living there. My father came from Sierra Leone. I'm a Sierra Leonean. I'm a Madingo Timini guy. We came there. I grew up. I knew myself as a human being in Liberia. So I saw my father, them talking to Liberians and saying, you guys don't do this thing. We are not enjoying in Sierra Leone.
So can we look?
When I say man,
yes, sir.
These people went and make an allegation against someone kind of
you know, madam. Madam.
Yes.
I just want to ask the brother a question.
So, see, he's going to ask you a question, but I want you to understand that could be maybe a misunderstanding or misconception. Then it is our place as Sierra Leonean to make our brothers or assist them understand.
I have a show. So, show that I want you. I'm going to contact you and I want you to get on that show. I'm going to make you a guest speaker on the show coming this week or next week.
My brother, listen.
Because it picks up our region. So, it lies in our hands.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of misconception.
I just want to say this to his brother.
In order for us to have them understand the misconception, we have to do it with love, with peace, with patience, but not in a manner where we sound to be a bit aggressive or upset. We shouldn't. We have to have patience.
I agree with you because you know why? You know why I sound this way? Because there is a December 30th step down
Chief,
campaign.
but why is this guy so?
Okay. Hold on one second. Let me. Hold on one second, sir. So let me have him come in now, okay? Just give a second and just hear him out, okay?
You see,
all right, sir. Mr. Colin.
Let me say this with his brother.
Right,
you know, most of the things I put out here, I expect them to be subjected to debate and critical thinking. The essence of this platform is not where people come here and share crocodile tears and expect everybody to believe what they say. I expect most of my idea here to come on a serious cross-examination. But let me say this to this brother. You see, the politics of the church is not, of the state is not a church, neither a mosque. The people have the right guaranteed for by the Constitution of the Republic to call on any leader to step aside from the politics of the state. I haven't made any public support or any public statement to the December 30th protest in Liberia. But what I have said to Liberians, that the people rights are guaranteed for by the Constitution. Our law says all government are instituted by the authority and for their own benefit, just to paraphrase our law. So if the people believe that they are stagnated under Judge Weah, who am I to question the people not to protest against Weah? If the people decide that they will ask Weah to step aside, our law says that all citizens at all times have the right to engage their government, whether it is through peaceful civil disobedience, and ask for the president to step aside. Those rights are guaranteed for by the Constitution. The very Constitution guarantees the president right to appoint public officials. That's why we are the one who appoint Minister of Health. Am I the one who appoint the Minister of Agriculture? So for this brother to come on live here and say we incite Liberians, we want the country to degenerate into chaos, we're calling for the violent overthrow of the government, these are distortion of the facts. And let me say here on this platform that I do not, let me say this. It is good that this brother called he said that he's a Sierra Leonean, but he has lived in Liberia a long time. I would deal with this brother as a Liberian citizen. If I, as an honest man, can come on this, he's a Liberian, don't mind that thing he's saying. My brother, you have Liberian citizenship. I know that for a fact.
Yes.
Let me say, that the very fact that if I can recognize that issues in Sierra Leone, they are not relatively okay because of the things I'm here that I'm reading, I can be able to openly criticize Bio. You too must muster the courage to criticize Weah. Weah fly a private jet. Does Bio fly a private jet? You answer the question. George Weah accepted a gift from another businessman that he awarded contracts to. But in any serious political governance, it is conflict of interest. You do not receive gifts. You know, prestigious gift from your friends. And then you come on this platform here and say we present everything is okay. Look at the growth rate in Sierra Leone and look at the economic indicators in Liberia. Look at the numbers. Sierra Leone is at 2.2%. 2.2%. Liberia now is slightly under 0.4%. Go look at the economic numbers. I'm a student of economics. Look at the issue of inflation.
The frustration.
Who did the World Bank advise? Do you know what the Liberian economy is now? The World Bank is even advising that for Liberia to see serious economic growth rate will be anywhere around 2024. They are telling the Liberian government to stop the issue of off-budget spending. So look at the economic, the numbers. Look at the percentage. The numbers do not lie.
Let's agree to disagree, right? So maybe the caller, if I look at both ends, his frustration when he happens to be, living in Sierra Leone now, you understand? Let's just say hypothetically speaking, right? Or he has family that lives in Sierra Leone, right?
Citizen. Listen.
Right.
The parents could be Sierra Leoneans, but that brother have lived in Liberia for a very long time. He may be born in Sierra Leone, but probably one of his parents are Liberian citizens. So people should not come on this platform here.
So now, let's agree to disagree.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
let's agree to disagree, right? So if I can understand his frustration,
Right.
maybe the economy is bad in Liberia, but when you talk about the safety or the freedom of speech, there are certain things that you have the right to do or
Right.
are able to do, wherein Sierra Leoneans are not able. Example, you were able to do a protest. Sierra Leone decided to do the same, but some of them were arrested, the very small portion that decided to take the risk to go out there. They were arrested and taken to prison.
These are these.
I'm sorry?
No. This is not a debate. Listen, madam.
Oh, 1 second.
This
Mr.
is not a
Collins.
debate between the brother and I. If this brother
So
wants
he
to
was saying
listen,
that he agrees.
hello.
No, yeah,
If
1
this
second.
brother wants
Mr.
to
Collins.
hello.
Yeah,
Let me
Mr.
say
Collins,
this. If
1
this brother
second.
wants to debate,
1 second there.
no, hold on.
Okay,
Let me judge this point. If this brother wants to debate, he can rearrange a time. Specifically, he and I will sit on this platform. I've never run out of ideas.
As a matter of fact,
tell me, even in Liberia, there are protesters now behind police custody. There are protesters that are behind police bar. There are people who have been, the critical voices have been people, they go after them. They hide under the cover of darkness. In Liberia, critical voices disappear overnight. Matthew Innes, when billions of Liberian dollar banknotes went missing, the mysterious disappearance of Matthew Innes.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Serious accounts from the security forces.
Yes, I'll bring
and
you.
And then this brother will come on this platform here and distort the facts. No, my brother, we don't do that.
So wait, Mr. Collins.
I owe no apology to this
Mr.
brother.
Collins, make a talk this in Creole, right?
Yeah, you make talk the Creole.
Make that this in Creole, right? You know this saying, when they say, you will get you so foot now, you know how they feel, you understand? So I want kind of, I want kind of respect both ends of the argument, right?
No,
you understand the pain of Liberia, and he said equally understand the pain of Sierra Leone.
Right.
No, so it's not the translate come back in.
I challenge him. He's a Liberian citizen. You see, if you want to debate, you can schedule another time. Right now, today is exclusively you and I interview.
Okay.
It's not a debate between you and I.
Mr. Collins, wait, it said in a talk Creole now, so listen to her. Now talking Creole. Hold on. All right, caller, go ahead, sir. It's a minute. Okay. No, start all over again. Start all over again, sir.
The man is even struggling to speak the Creole.
I did take part because I grew up in Liberia. So
you see it? Look at that.
We
know them,
I was.
Where's yourself?
Naboku talk. See what we can do. Naboku talk. Boku talk, no be talk. The man is struggling to speak the Creole. See that? I told you that I'm a citizen.
Mr. Collins, wait steady, man. Talk.
Okay, go ahead. Let him talk. I left him.
My grandfather is a founding member of FCPP.
Okay.
My grandfather is called Honorable A.H. Kande.
Okay.
And anybody who is into politics know that my grandfather is a founding member. I have and people in the APC. My uncle was the ambassador in Belgium.
If I speak better Creole than that man.
So I am but I grew up in Liberia.
Oh my goodness.
So I know how misleading the Liberia. I want you. Let's go back in history. Because of this misleading attitude of the Liberians, brought a war that destroyed and destabilized our sub-region, Sierra Leone and Liberia, and killed people. Our moral, our family fabric, our family. People don't have their grandmother anymore. People don't have their uncle anymore because of the misleading attitude of some of Liberians that felt the only way
But Mr. Kola, so you know, when we live in the past, we're not able to give ourselves chance for going to the future. What has been done cannot be undone. So we strength it supers, we weaknesses them. Yes.
But I can tell you, Madam Host, they are living it now. Why I say now, December 30th, they said that George Weah should step down. Unconstitutionally. No, the Article 17 of the Liberia Constitution, Article 17, you know, the Article 17, they should petition the government.
So my question now, you mean a bit.
All people at all times, in orderly manner, shall have the right to assemble and consult upon the common good and instruct their representative to petition the government. And that's the Article 17 of the Liberian Constitution. It said to in the common good to instruct their representative, go to their Congress.
Okay.
They said no, they are not going to the Congress. They want this president to step down. Go, they have the process of impeachment.
Okay, so for now you know lost the. So for now you know lost the.
Problem that will go to my country, Sierra Leone, because you have done that before. You have done that before. There's impeachment inquiries going on in United States where we live right now.
So for now you know get the callers them lost, sir. For now you know get the callers them lost. Can you hear me, sir? Hello? Sir, can you hear me? Hello, sir? Okay, sir. Allow me for coming for minutes, okay? So, okay. Okay, sir, 1 second. Okay, so, sir, 1 second, just allow me for coming, yeah? Before you come with me, they get a very fruitful and peaceful dialogue, okay? Whatever, like I say, in engagements when I don't get prior to that, sir, you can hear me, right? Okay, so go ahead, sir. All right, Mr. Darlington, come on in, sir. So take a call back.
Yeah. You see, I think there's not a dialogue between the caller and I. When people call on these kinds of platforms, it's an exclusive interview between you and I. And I make no apology to this brother. You see, these are people who put some of us in difficult spots.
Yeah.
When they say that we call for the violent overthrow of the government, you put some of us on the political sidelines. You make people in the ruling establishment to look at some of us as planning something sinister. I've said on this platform that all that I've done here, I've been calling for the unification of Africa. I've been calling for us to, re-establish ties between both countries. That's all those ideas I have proffered here. As I've emulated to you, that while it is true, I haven't publicly made any public statement of support for the December 30th protest, but it is also the people's right guaranteed for by the Constitution of the Republic. And we are as an elected official. The Constitution didn't just limit petition to the House of Representatives. No. Then this brother must be reading the Liberian Constitution upside down. The people have the right to call for the president to step down. That is enshrined by from the Constitution. It must benefit them. So you come on this platform here. You put us on the sideline. We have friends, relatives, loved ones in Liberia. We do not want the country to degenerate into chaos. But should our people continue to stagnate in poverty? The politics of the state is not a church, a mosque. It's not a place where the chief imam will come and present the sermon, or the pastor will come and say, amen. No. When you are president of our republic, it is our duty to hold you accountable. We must hold your power to account. That is all we struggle for.
Absolutely. Strongly agree. Strongly
agree. We want job from the government. No. Under this we are establishment. I have more friends, comrades that we struggle together. They are serving in a we are regime. But we are men of courage. We can look at the system. We have options. We can join these buffoons who are looting our country and loot the country further. But we say, no, we are men who set ourselves apart. We don't believe in acquiring ill-gotten wealth. That's not why we struggle. So, you know.
Mr. Collins, let me come in quick and answer the caller again. Caller, I think is the same caller. Caller, so what I was saying is that I do not know what the dialogue was or what the interaction was prior to me inviting Mr. Collins to this platform. But since we started the dialogue, it was more of us, how we're to focus on our strength to bring a better united Africa. And I also want you to make it clear to the audience where you are not sounding a bit contradicting, meaning that you said you happen to be a Sierra Leonean and you would not like Mr. Collins to dictate or tell you as to what it is that Sierra Leone is facing. Vice versa, who knows better about Liberia than the Liberia sitting here himself, you understand? And there are certain things or certain statement that we make is a bit critical for you to accuse someone to that extent of saying they're a part of the December 31st blah, blah. It's a bit critical. So I want to bring you back in so that way you can make clarity on your statement, and let's be mindful of, because the goal here is for us to strengthen what we're blessed with, which is the agreement that we had during the President of His Excellency, Dr. Ines Baikorma, which remind us of our promise to each other to remain friends and to be each other's brother's keeper, to be each other's allies in a time of crisis or at all time. So I want you to come back in and let's use our voice to heal the wounds that was once there, but let's not use a voice to create more tension. Come back in, caller.
Thank you, Ben, very much. I appreciate you so much because I thought I was a lone voice and tried to bring Liberia and Sierra Leone together so we can go back to the days of darkness. Because that's why I created the Monterey Union so they can hear our side. I never took part in the Liberian politics. I was only observing, watching, until I heard a lady called Yasini. His colonel and Yasini and the video caller and Henry Costa talking about Sierra Leone. Let me give a little background.
No. But you,
wait, one second, sister, Mr. Collins.
This guy.
One second.
Let me say
no,
this.
Give
let
me
me
one
say
second.
this. Oh, let me just say this.
Mr. Collins, just a minute. Let him get through. Hold on.
This is not Yasini's on this show. It is Henry Costa.
I know.
This is
but
my name is
Darlington Collins.
Why you come and hold me accountable while other people say?
Right. There or was
come on
Yasini?
Now. Caller? Yasini say what you have to say, Chief.
Let me go back. Let me say.
Okay.
I went on this caller show. This particular individual.
Okay.
I went on his show.
Okay.
And I described myself as a Sierra Leonean.
Okay.
And I debated him and I told him because the last protest and when the president came to the UN, this particular gentleman was on Facebook Live and I followed him. I've been on his show before, and he actually took his phone and gave it to Yasini and
record him.
Okay. And he even spoke live.
Okay.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I follow them. I'm heavily in the Liberian community. So if you go on the show, they know my name. But the reason I'm saying that a little bit of my background, my mother is a Madingo, my father is a Timini.
Yeah.
I grew up in Liberia. My grandfather from my mother's side is a founding member of the SNDP. My father's side is the APC. So I caught in the middle of the two parties. But I don't belong to no party. I'm an independent guy. When I go among my family members, them uncle was the ambassador to Belgium under Anders Chroma,
these things are immaterial. Come on.
government eventually, and the family of Anders Chroma, I'm familiar with them. I know them well. They are my friends. Anders Chroma.
It's immaterial now to the debate, Chief.
In his house. So what I'm saying is I'm familiar with the Sierra Leone politics and the Liberian politics. And I know what happened. What I'm trying to say with this scholar, I've seen it many of times telling their people that like Sierra Leone is moving forward in a better place. I'm not against Madabio. I know Madabio have a challenge. I'm not going to blame Madabio for all the poverty in Sierra Leone. Our people are suffering. The dollar is going up. We are there. What I'm trying to say is the same problem they have in Liberia, we have the same problem.
Okay.
The same allegation they have, we have similar allegation. But we can use the ballot box. We can use other means to address our problem instead of our people go back to the dying days.
Okay.
Madam Host, I know you have somebody that you lost during the war.
Mm-hmm.
We all, Liberians should stop using the means of war. They should stop using the means of force. For we have the ballot box that we can go through. We have ways that we can do. So when I listen to their leader called Henry Costa, who incites 2 days ago, he called for people to go on the streets for a lady called Justina Taylor, who make an allegation. No base, no truth.
Okay. So now, Mr. Darlington, want to come back in?
I'm not debating this, brother. Give his time, let his conclude, so I can roll over things here. If you want to debate, he can come on another time.
Yeah, protester. Well, by means of lack of medication, lack of this, because they block the hospital and break down the fence of the hospital through a gentleman called Henry Costa. It's like somebody called, you guys go and block cottage. Go and block hospital.
Okay, so some of the callers, some of the viewers that happen to be Sierra Leoneans will be curious as to why your concern and your energy should not be focused on Sierra Leone and allow Liberians them to make better decision that would be for the best interest of Liberia, wherein you will not be in a situation where you look like as if you're trying to dictate or trying to tell them what their problem is, wherein like I said, you don't want to appear to be contradicting, because you're telling this gentleman to say that, not to tell Sierra Leoneans that things are better when things are bad, and you're telling the Liberians not to do X, Y, and Z because of X, Y, and Z. So why is it that we cannot focus on, as much as we're trying to bring unity to the continent of Africa, but at the same time, our main focus, they said you have to take care of home first. So home should be where we take care of first, and then we try to bring the other countries together. You understand? So if we have issue, just like you said, it's obvious that we have issue in Sierra Leone. Why we can use this platform and iron those issues of concern, so on and so forth, and allow the Liberians them too to point out their issue and present it to their president in a peaceful manner, not saying that it should go there and hurt anyone or start war or whatever the case may be. But if their intention is not that, but then you are sounding like that, so many will be curious as to who is really doing the insight, because maybe their intention is not bad. Like this platform, I've always made it clear that it's not to incite anyone, or no, we're here to basically address issues of relevance, and we're going to handle them in a very honest manner, irrespective of which political party did what. And some people might frown on it, but at the end of the day, our goal is to see that we get a better Mama Salon. You understand? So that would, yes, sir.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Let me answer this. As you remember, 1992, Darlington Strasser, the coup that happened in Sierra Leone, where the military came from, when it was deployed in Liberia. Darlington Strasser, Sani Musa was deployed in Liberia. The ideas of stationing a coup from Liberia.
So how do we go past this?
Let me go from there.
Yeah.
Let me land.
Yeah.
And from Liberia, because of the closeness, the proximity of Liberia and Sierra Leone, that whatever this problem happened in Liberia,
It would affect us.
problem in Sierra Leone.
I understand your concern now. Okay.
These are one country, and two,
Yes.
I have a brother and a sister from my father that are Liberians.
Okay.
Was born by a rebel woman.
So
You know what I mean? When a rebel
Yeah.
woman. In Liberia. So
Okay.
Liberia is my second home.
okay, so your concern is that even though they are saying things that are relevant, but your worried is that you don't want any war to break out in Liberia. That's your concern.
Because it's gonna affect us.
Okay.
It's gonna affect us. You see that region?
Yes.
Liberia and Sierra Leone are brothers and sisters. When you go
Yes.
to Kenema, when you go to Water side, when you go down, you're going to see they are the same people. People in Kenema from Bo to Liberia, they are family. They speak the same. The tradition is the same because on the other side called Cape Mount in Liberia, they call Vai. And Vai and the Mende, they speak the same language. It's just like, it's just a little bit different.
Okay.
Maybe if I say good morning, they may say something else. But they understand it's an identical language that
Okay.
most people don't know.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, sir.
The Vai and the Mende. Then when you go to the Guinea,
Okay.
you have the Gipsy, you have we are Mano River Union.
Okay.
Whatever happens,
Yes. So I think you've already made your point clear, because it seemed like the audience are a bit annoyed with us basically standing still instead of moving forward. Yes, I know where you're coming from in terms of your concern of, war breaking out in Liberia. So I want you to continue to watch the show, and let me bring Mr. Darlington back. And then once I'm done with him, I can always bring you back as a guest. I know you sent me a request earlier, so I'll bring you after Mr. Darlington, okay? Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. Wonderful. So that was an interesting one. But anyhow, like, this platform is open for everyone. So I respect everybody's opinion or whatever the case may be. But again, my reminder to each of us is that our strength is much more, it surpasses our weaknesses. And whatever misunderstanding or problem we have had in the past, we pray that it will never come back to light. So come back in, Mr. Darlington.
Well, you see, opinion or agnosis, everybody has one. You see, there will be no lasting peace within the Mano River Union sub-basin when African leaders are extremely corrupt. There will be no lasting silence of the gun when leaders are arrogant and want the people to always hero worship them. No, there will be no peace. Yes, the guns might be silent, but our people are on a serious economic bias. The country is in a more stagnant state. The economy of the country is not booming. Young brothers who go to university, some of them far more brilliant than we are, they cannot even get access to living wood. Women cannot even have access to maternal newborn health care. So Liberia is our baby. We determine whether we abort this pregnancy or we keep it. This government is an evil baby. It is just so fair enough that we as Liberian citizens remedy our own solutions. You do not come here and tell us what kind of solution to use. No, the laws are very clear. They are on the books. Why would one man clinch onto power at the total good of the vast majority of the people? Yes, he has a constitutional mandate of 6 years. I have said times without number that it is only fair enough that we give this government a chance to entertain. But I cannot just sit here in America and determine what kind of method or methodology the people in Monrovia will use. If the people decide to go out in the street and call for the government to step aside, I have no fish to fry in that oil. Yes, it is my country, but these people are direct beneficiaries of the hardship in the country. They know when they take their sons and daughters for health care, they get turned down. I cannot tell the people. That would be cynical. That would be foolhardy on my part to come and tell the people about the methodology. No, my brother, we all knew what he was getting into. He's president of Africa, all that's independent nation. He saw this country that have come from devastating state. Look at Sierra Leone. The international people came on your backs to bring the International War Crimes Code. What? And you guys had the ICC that saw Taylor going to the Hague for his involvement with the RUF in Liberia. What are the issues we are flagging? We are calling for the establishment of the War Crimes Code. So that never again will certain group of people revert to the barrel of the gun. That people, when they have issues, they will rather use the ballot boxes. We are calling for the full implementation of the TRC report. We are calling on the WIA administration to bring into the country to hold warlords accountable. How do you blame me for that? The UN, they have said to Mr. WIA, we need to establish the War Crimes Code and hold perpetrators of war to book. WIA is the one crying baby here. I'm not the one who crying baby. Look at international support. They have stopped international support because Liberia government do not want to bring the establishment of the War Crimes Code. Who suffers the most? Our people suffer the most. Our people feel the pains of injustice in the country. Political prisoners are behind bars. You tell us why. Look, I say this. The WIA administration is like a young lady who refused to go for prenatal care. When a woman is pregnant and refuses to go for prenatal care, wherever baby she borns, that is up to her. She bears the consequences thereof. The people have advised you what you need to do to see economic growth. This president is flying private jet when healthcare workers are not taking pay for 4 months. Tell me what the people in Sierra Leone are not taking pay for 5 months. Tell me on this platform.
Oh, it's a lot. So
these issues are similar. I don't think BOA is flying private jet. Look at the economic numbers from the graph. Look at the Human Development Index. When we say Sierra Leone is making progress than Liberia, it's not in any way to talk down on Liberia. It is for us to emulate good economic examples. Yes, you may have your own issues. You may have your own challenges. These are issues that will persist within the continent. But what we say here is that you do not dictate the methodology to the people. You're talking about lasting peace within the sub-region. Bring the War Crimes Code. You're talking about never again will us go back, whether it is long sleeve or short sleeve. Bring the War Crimes Code. Sierra Leone have done it. You guys have managed. Taylor is beyond bar. As a young boy, I used to see the people, women, would run down the La Paz on the ground for Taylor. They knew no other leader but Charles Taylor. I said as a young boy that these people are building a tyrant and a dictator. Some of us, yes, we were young boys in the country. We couldn't speak because people would disappear by night. We see these very vices of the dark days creeping. Oh no, we are as my kinsmen, just we are as a crew, man. But when I look at the unification of Africa, I do not look at your tribe.
Wonderful.
I do not believe in these things. Those are backward tendencies. The people must engage. If the people believe we should leave December 30, it is the right guarantee for by law. If we are like, he can go to the very certain place and crack. If he like, he can put the army in the street and test the vibrancy of the people.
So let me come back in.
We are also on June the 7th. Let me say this. On this year, we have also shut down the internet. Isn't that an attack on free speech? Just the Liberian government on June the 7th, 2019, shut down the internet. And then you tell me here that we are protecting free speech? But journalist cameras just 2 days ago was being broken on the floor in Monrovia. Where journalist were being brutalized. Look, the presidency is not a place where we read George Weah love letters.
You made some valid points. You made some valid points.
Right.
So you and George Weah share the same tribe, in other words.
Very well, very well. He's a crew man.
Okay. Okay. So I love that you care about national issue instead of tribal issue or similarities or whatever the case may be. That's a great one. So when I had the opportunity to have an interview with one of our honorable back home yesterday, one of the questions that I presented to him was that how do we get to that mindset? Like we stated earlier, Bob Marley said, let's emancipate our mind from mental slavery, right? How do we get to have either Liberians or Sierra Leone or Africans as a whole to understand that when some of us do constructive criticism, it's not that we do not like our government, but rather we want the best for our country. And also, how do we make our how you call it, our officials, them, our government officials, them, or our head of state understand that they are also to be questioned. They're supposed to work in the interest of the people. There's a good democracy is that wherein our head of state is supposed to be afraid of us, not the other way around. So come on in and bring your own take on that one.
You see, that is the tragedy of Africa. When leaders do not subject themselves to debate and public scrutiny, all countries that have succeeded have managed to enlighten the conscience of their class and the noblesse of their men to position of relevance. What you see in our sub-region today is that we have not profiled the best of the best. We have not profiled the cream de la cream of our own kind to national leadership. George Weah became president of our country. He didn't even attend a single presidential debate because during the campaign period, we did not focus on the issues. We focused on the issue of tribe. We focused on the issue that he was a celebrity. He played soccer. We got caught up. We got lost. So now it is the time for this man to deliver. This man is clueless. He do not even have any ideological constraint on where the state should head. So historical circumstances again, where people who do not understand anything, they are given political office. And then when we come on this platform here to checkmate them, they say we have brand critical voices in the country as enemies of the state. Nobody here is planning war against. I will not be a part, not a party where people will try to involve any acts of insurgency against the Weah regime. But you see, the irony is that sycophants, gossipers, job seekers, they parade, they feed on lies and pretense. They roam around with gossip to the presidency. That these people, don't listen to them. Their views do not matter. You saw it in Monserrado County in Morovia. They just ended elections. Because we are, for over 12 years, dominated Liberia's biggest political capital. Monserrado County. The CDC, just we are political party. They won overwhelmingly for over 12 years. When we are proffered a senatorial candidate, the people voted against the CDC candidate. They rejected the CDC. Whoever thought that in the hands of time, the people could shape the course of action? The people are not happy. They are not happy. We're not manufacturing these things. All we say to Mr. Weah is that you need to accept the divergence of critical views. Your presidency must be brought under criticism. You cannot be very divisive. The president is very divisive. He make hate speeches. You do this to this other political person. You cannot be a leader of a country and then you are the chief divider in chief. You can't do that. You are the commander in chief of the armed forces. You are the head of state of the republic. So you must speak to your people. When the last time George Weah addressed the nation? The country now is in chaos. The people are not happy with the governance of the state. It is only fair that the president address the nation on these unfolding issues. The president took over in less than 1 year. He constructed over 49 housing units. The people say, Mr. Weah, you have not even declared your assets for your building skyscrapers. How come are you acquiring these properties? Aren't those questions issues? Oh, these issues are issues now. We cannot trust these issues. No, we cannot trust these issues. The people are asking Weah, how they acquire all of these ill-gotten properties. If I'm a young man and I go to government, in less than 3 months, I don't even have a kitchen, and I start to build skyscrapers. isn't right enough that the people ask questions that what kind of man is it? What are you? He don't have ticket palm. Because you have not declared your assets. The people see that you are flying on private jet. Can you cut off the issue of private jet? Look at the president of Tanzania, John McAfoley. They called the man the bulldozer. This man is very careful about wasteful spending.
Yeah.
But you have a president who wears $11,000 shoes. He sees the presidency as a place of wearing Gucci belts and Ferragamo watches.
Wow.
He do not care about people. And you want us to come here and give real breast milk? No. There is a Chinese adage that says bad soul require bad medicine.
I wanna agree with you with the Tanzania president. I read an article wherein he decided not to even attend the United Nations because he felt like if he was to attend, just his per diem alone would be, and his entourage would cause more disadvantage to the country as a whole. So he decided to select or appoint or whatever, assign other individual that will come in, you know, on his behalf. So that's a great one. Another thing that I want us to talk about, now you lost my thoughts a little bit with all this back and forth. Oh my goodness.
I'm so sorry, you know.
That's cool. So what I wanted to know was, I thought we as Sierra Leonean, or some of us, looked at that protest that as an accomplishment, or as something that you know, was that worked in the best interest of Liberia. Because I heard some different platform that, oh well, since they did the president of Liberia minimizes traveling, so that was not the case. And secondly, from what I'm hearing now, the protest was not even effective, or whatever you want to define.
The man is arrogant. The protesters are gathered to petition the government. The president absconded from the scene of the protest. He didn't even come to receive the petition from his citizens. I cannot be president and my citizens gather to protest. I will cut the protest short in less than 30 minutes. I will go there, let the people lash at me. I will receive the petition and take it back and read. But the people were in the streets for hours. So what did we do? He shut down the internet. Go and read the New York Times, Crippin Detector. These are headlines that are on the international cables. The man shutting down the internet. You are going after radio station and wanting to close critical radio station in the country. You are people of interest, of security interest to the state. You are keeping them on a house arrest. And then you go to the UN and say to the United Nations that you do not have political prisoner. That is a bold-faced lie. So yes, we are the protest, yes, it gained momentum. You see, sometimes in history, even tyrants or tyranny or dictators, they do not control the trajectory. No matter how you try to stop the people from protesting, if the people are not happy, there will come a point in time when they will gather in the numbers that you will not even have the security detail to contain the people. Absolutely. We see how other foreign shutdowns are falling apart. Whoever thought that this guy from Burkina Faso, Blaise Compaoré, could have been chased out of power. You saw how the courageous people of Burkina Faso, they chased Compaoré out of power. After the overthrow of saxophone Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The people saw a young army lieutenant, Gerald Rawlings, trooping onto Ghana and giving the people hope. So yes, no matter how you try to suppress the people are like moving cars. They may slow down at intersection, but they are forward in history. They are like moving cars. They keep forward in history.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this missing container full of money. What happened to that one? Did they ever discover it? Did they ever find that missing money?
Well, in the Liberian, there's a Liberian parlance that say it ends up in dry dog story. No account in the house.
Right?
Yeah, my husband just went dead. So yeah,
it went dead.
Am I audible enough?
Okay. So what we're gonna do is just cut this first. Okay?
Am I hearing you?
No. for this show because of the workers.
Yeah, if you give me 5 minutes, you know that 3 seconds very fast. The 5 minutes.
Wonderful. Okay.
So maybe you can take a break or take other participants.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
All right. Sorry, viewers. We have to take him off for a minute. He's gonna recharge his earpiece and then come right back. That wanted to come in. Mr. Erickson. Okay. Bringing you in now. Hello, Mr.
Hello?
Erickson. For your request, I brought you in. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. We do
You're welcome.
have electricity at the moment. I'm in darkness, you can see, but however, I think
No.
it's important that my voice be heard.
No problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just listened to my little brother Darlington College, a good friend of mine, saying with latitudes the importance of how we want our country to move forward and how we want our continent, Africa, to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's in path with the dynamics. One good thing I don't know whether you have questions to ask me or you wanted me to have a free flow of the conversation.
Yes, sure. Go ahead. You can basically, go ahead and have a free flow on based on what we've been discussing. I'm sure you've listened from the beginning, correct?
Sure, you're right. One good thing I think he laid premise on, and I think it's important that we take as people in Liberia is that when President Trump became president of the United States of America, he said he wanted to give America back to the American. And he did not refuse to extend hands to allies nation. But one of the best ways his government felt they could give back to allies nation was to strengthen them in terms of economic management. And so as a result, both houses at the level of the parliament agree that in terms of helping, especially underdeveloped countries like Liberia, they could come up with strategy through to help with the financial management aspect. There's a reason why you saw at the lower house at the Capitol, a lot of the representatives were fighting hard to make sure that they engage nations that have financial crisis, that public officials have ran away with financial crisis without any form of a punishment upon them. And fortunately for us, Liberia, we were in the worst case scenario. And as it's descended upon us that our leaders must be eye open, they should have a sense of understanding of that environment. I think at the moment, this is what is lacking. Our president, George Openwia, has lost his sense of having an understanding of what is happening on the international community. He's listening to people that are around him, and they lost the sensitivity of the international community. Like the United States government, that is a good friend to Liberia, has sanctioned the issue of the War and Economic Crime Code. They are supporting this. In a true sense of diplomacy, they may not come out to tell you these things, but all they are saying, the only way we can be a help to your nation, except you allow these things to happen, which is in line with our goal. And a lot of deaf ear is being placed to the particular aspect of the international politics that is playing in our country, Liberia, at the moment. So I just wanted to scratch that point. I listened to Darlington. He was clear about some of the issues that are happening. He's right. And so until our government, we as a government and as people, we can realize that it is important that we bring these perpetrators to justice and our international community, at which time our international partners, we happen to extend hands to us. We all see for nearly 2 years, we have not had any means of survival as a country. I'm a public servant. For 4 months, I haven't taken pay, which is school had just resumed. School had just resumed back home. I have a daughter who is 3 years old. She should be in school by now. I can't afford to pay her fees because I have not gotten paid. It's wrong. Sooner or
Yeah.
later, if it is 10 to 5, 6 months, it becomes a problem for us as people. You will soon
Right.
find the public, the civil servant taking the streets of Moravia and other parts of the country protesting to the fullest, which is wrong. You don't want to have a government where civil servant will take the street to protest for salary, basic salary.
Yes.
So
Makes sense. Thank you.
our government should be sensitive enough to understand these things.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate your contribution. There's one more person that sent in a request, so I'm going to bring them in, and then we'll see if Mr. Darlington is ready after that. Thank you again for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. God bless. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Hassan, I saw your request. You are not going live, so let me try you again. Okay. So, Mr. Hassan, send that request again, sir. Let me see. Send the request again, sir. And then we'll try for wrap up for then bring another topic in a little bit. Not sure if Mr. Darlington is ready. Okay, let's see. Mr. Hassan, see. Okay. Hello, sir. Mr. Hassan, welcome. Welcome, sir.
Now maybe then at the phone.
Yes, yes, know that. So if you want to say something, eh?
Yeah, and I just want to let you understand these people. Most of them when they talk, these are like opposition that we don't did it for 12 years, not in country. So they have that thing inside them that this man, would we believe that the poverty will go on? Me papa live in Liberia. Under some do, even there 7 months, not take pay. So not take pay in Liberia, not to a strange thing. We live under that. Everything what they tell you, not a strange thing. These people then they come for make like say, now this man who done the day for 18 months, less than 2 years. Now he bring the problem na Liberia. It's because the reason that they do that, because if you ask them the question, just ask them the question, did you vote for and George Weah, or were you in favor of George Weah? They go tell you no. Because they have that thing that they mind that this man not educated enough for being a footballer, this, and then they go against that because they be once the vice president of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for be the president. So not to say what they talk so now out of the country interest so, because I'm heavily involved into the community. I'm heavily involved on the show, and I know. And and I have friends around their and political arena, so I know their mentality. This particular gentleman where you get that show, I don't go now in show before. All they want for do say let the man come out. Less than 18 months. How will you expect a government less than 18 months for this bring the country and come back to where Ellen Johnson Sirleaf don't did it for 12 years. And everything that they do in Liberia, they spill over to we. In high time, we get to realize that everything what they do, they affect we.
When you look back, you're not fair for just conclude say now because this man make it clear say one, he and the sitting president now in Liberia, then they share the same tribe. So obviously if now like a we don't come together and say, oh, when I'm the same tribe man, now go for him. Then he build up in case as to why it stands so strong. in regards to like the one that we did in at the ground, waiting and they complain. Okay, for argument's sake, like how you say, okay, maybe not so this, like how you give the example of your papa instead we don't suffer from where he work in the sense that you need to get in salary on time. But that don't mean say we forget a mindset where you're saying that if it happened there, not mean say if we continue. When a new person come, if we try for learn from them mistake of the previous administration, and then try for do a better things, you understand? But we're not for sit and say okay, and enough for be wearing that every, but even like a we, no, 1 second, sir, 1 second. Even like a we when they try with best, you understand, sir? Like I'm not getting nothing what again. I God in own I try for get all the time. I don't care about position or whatever because everything this world is vanity. Even presidents in a vanity. You need to go with time. You know, that the goodness when you're in a prestige position or even me sitting here, how are we able to influence the next person for that think positively or now we get united and we go down there for not only Sierra Leone but for Africa as a whole. You understand? And that benefits them me to look for God because much money they able to forgive. But you understand? If people like a we will they try for call outs the like certain things them will be the facing now only certain set of people they affect. The next show will they come with a very important I will make some community announcements earlier in the beginning of the show. You will see that when war they come, where discuss they come, not to one person in the effect. Now everybody as a whole, you understand? So if we get people that like myself or like Mr. Collins, where they see things and color like it is, without okay, Mr. Collins, I bring you in soon, sir. Without any malice behind it, we're not for frown against them people than they, or we're not for be so suspicious to the point that even when the intention good, we they assume say now because a get vice president come, you understand, but the obvious still exists na Sierra Leone or na Liberia. You get to say they come from, eh?
Okay, let's see this because Mr. Collins is listening. Let's talk in English, so we can hide from. So Mr. Collins cannot.
But go ahead. Yeah, sure.
He didn't understand Creole because I can.
Yeah, no, but go ahead in English. Go ahead in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say this. And when you have a biasness into who lead the country from the onset, when you stood from the day one of the presidency and said, this man is not my president, that is a problem right there.
Absolutely.
Because, yes, that's what Mr. Collins and his gang come from.
Okay.
They stood from day one. I follow these people. From day one, they stood. Their theory, the idea is that he is a footballer. But this guy who is the president of Ukraine is a comedian. The Minnesota senator, who was a former Minnesota senator, he is a comedian. Ronald Reagan was an actor. These guys feel that, and if you're from somewhere, you see that elitism mentality, my dear. That's why they feel that, and I can say this: he's a crewman. And George Weah is a crewman. In Liberia, when it comes to tribalism, it's not as thick as Sierra Leone, that we feel that the Timini people, other people, Mende people, APC, it's not that there. But what you get in Liberia is the elites versus people who they feel that you're not one of us. You see the idea, you're not one of us. It's so prominent in Liberia that you don't speak like us. You don't speak good English. If you listen to them when they talk about the president, oh, he don't speak good English. He don't do this. He don't do this. It's so prominent in Liberia. And that is my problem. You're not one of us. That's what this gentleman, they belong, some of them, they belong to what they call Cummings. It's a political leader, Cummings, that they feel that he's an elite. They'll present him that, oh, he the United States government, he was the head of Coca-Cola. He's this. They still have that. He talked about emancipation. These people need to emancipate themselves from that elitism, from the the American or the white man way of seeing us, because
So,
they believe. Go
so
ahead,
this,
man.
yes, sir. This observation is based on your experience in Liberia, or based on, you know, the secondhand comment or statement from other Liberians?
It based on fact for this gentleman and them, because I follow them. I've been on the show. It's a fact. I'm not saying this based on secondhand information. I'm not saying this based on they say. I'm based on fact of them, because I'm going to bring you into the debates, into the discourse of the Liberian. I will bring you into it. I will talk to you. Lord will come in. I will make you on guest speaker and get your own first hand and of this, so you can see that our ideas and their ideas are different. Their ideas is of, if you're not one of us, because I can tell you back. My uncle is on the is watching right now. His name is Lami Hassan. He's there, and he know what I'm talking about. Back in the and late 80s to 70s, they make the same allegation on Samuel Kayando. He's not one of them. And Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and them go on BBC, do your case study, and here she's saying, General Doe, you must leave. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and them, they went through the wall. They went through everything to kill this gentleman and brought war that affected us. So we as a region, but we as a region need to call it what it is. Because why am I saying this? That I'm saying them saying in Liberia, the president need to step down, or otherwise there will be a war. December 30th, the president needs to, he's a constitutional president. He has the mandates of the people.
Let me read it, and then I'm going to let you go and bring Mr. Collins so we can call it a wrap.
Yeah, he's your guest. Yeah, he's your guest.
Yeah, I want you to definitely partake in the next one, sir. Well, let me read this. It's from Mr. Steven. Mr. Steven said, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. How a president who came to power in less than 2 years will build 49 duplexes for himself and brought private jets. Do you expect the citizen not to be concerned or to ask question?
Good question. Good question. I love this question. Let me pose a question to you. This person this is an allegation that came up less than 6 months to his presidency. Can you build a 49 units in less than 6 months? It's a question to this caller. Can't you build? You must be a superstar to build. And this person came to power with the jets, not within the presidency. He came with the jets. And two, there's an allegation of 16 billion. You said something about the container of money. That I'm going to forward you the report of the American, the Coast reports, that it was investigated by the United States, an agency within the United States had a contracted by from the ambassador to Liberia, the Coast reports. The Coast report, it was 16 billion. When they investigated, it was 2.6 billion excess was printed. Ma'am, 2. Excess was printed from the past regime, which supported by this, your guess, the past regime. And the past regime printed excess. As I speak to you right now, you can ask your guess. If Charles Sirleaf, which is the son of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the biggest nepotism, you can find that in this color party. They are from the past regime. He will come up and say, "Oh, I'm not with Ellen," but these are the people. collaborating party. They all joined right now as I speak to you. So the president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, go to Al Jazeera and see the interview from Al Jazeera reporter with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf about the wasteful spending and the excess of prints, the Liberian dollar, 2.6 billion from and the 16 billion. So there was no 16 billion missing. There was an excess of 2.6 billion was printed by the government of the past regime. As I speak to you, they are in court. They are going through the process, and they are charged. They went to they arrested them, and they got their lawyer. The process is going on. So if there's no such thing as 16 billion missing.
Who was arrested? The son of his
Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Yeah, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Charles and Charles Sirleaf, and the former bank governor and some others. They arrested him. So while the caller will not tell you, your host will not tell you, he will not tell you that. And ask him the question: where Charles Sirleaf were arrested, why? Where 2.6 billion was missing, were printed, why? Okay. The reason I bring in this, the reason I involve into the Liberian, because I live there and there, because I feel that if we sit down and allow this misconception, those things to go on, we're going to go back to losing our people. And two, we never had a war crime court in Sierra Leone. We had a special court. Tell your host that we never had a special. And RUF was a political party. It's the attempted coup that brought the arrest of RUF leaders and some others, and we had a special court. If we had a war crime court, there's a lot of people being indicted. Lots of people. So please make that clear to this gentleman, because he have a platform that we never had a war crime court. We had a special court. And the special court came out because of the coup. Because if it was not that coup, for the Sanka, RUF has transformed to a political party. So you have a platform. We have a duty to bring our country and back, and don't allow people for based on hate. Based on hate, I disagree a lot of things with Marabio, but I'm not going to call for Marabio to step down because I think he's young in power. I will fight Marabio to the ballot box. I will fight George Weah to the ballot box.
And but that's exactly what he said.
I'm not going to fight them. Yeah, what he's saying to you, what he's saying to you, that's not what he's saying on his platform.
Okay.
That's not what he's saying on his platform.
Okay.
What he's saying to you,
so we can wrap it up.
He's a very intelligent fellow. I give it to him. He's a very bright fellow. I like him. He's a very intelligent fellow. He's a decent fellow. Absolutely. Very intelligent fellow. But fundamentally, we disagree.
Okay, then we can learn to agree to disagree and get to common ground. I so appreciate you, Mr. Hassan. Rest assured, I'm going to bring you back for the next topic. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Yes, dear. Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Colin, I'm bringing you back, sir. Mr. Desmond, you reached late studio. Welcome, sir. Mr. Collins. So you have it ready and ready to go?
Yes.
So I know
It is
you were
a it is a
watching.
it is a
And
privilege and it is a privilege and honor. I think the more I stay on here, the better, I learn from these callers. I listen to them. I get to
wonderful.
make some rectifications and corrections. You see,
Absolutely.
but how would this brother, he have done a very disservice to me to call me an elite, a boy who born in one of Monrovia's biggest slum in Nuku Town, in a native reserve, a Batustan. You say that I resent President Weah? No, I don't resent Weah. I resent his politics. And then you say us versus them. We put Weah in a different quadrant. Yes, I'm not going to mix my words. I didn't support Brother Weah when he was contesting for the presidency. But when Weah took over the country, we as Liberian citizens, as student leaders, as critical voices in the country, we decided to give this brother a chance. For over 1 year, I was silent on critical issues. I couldn't speak. I said it was an opportunity in giving the government of the day a chance or a space to show what they are capable of doing.
Absolutely.
When the CDC government heard about President Weah, when it came to Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, a state in the U.S. predominantly occupied by Liberian citizens, we moved forward fast in organizing an all-Liberian town hall conference where the government officials can come and engage with the citizens. I was the master of ceremony. How do you want me to support this president? I supported them for 1 year. Some of us, we hoped that this man was going to change the course of action. You come to power. Why? You say the man is only president for 18 months. But how many months we need to declare his assets? Do he need 10 months? Do he need 24 months? 42 months? Serious thing, ordinary simple thing like asset declaration. It is not a favor. The law requires you that when you get in office, your entry and your exit, you must declare. It is a law. So Weah is violating the laws. Weah went and appointed the Liberian ambassador to the U.S. This ambassador didn't go through Senate confirmation in flagrant disrespect of our organic law. And you want us to keep quiet? No, my friend. But what this brother failed to tell you on this platform is that the former president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, supported Josh Weah. She bankrolled his campaign. And then you tell me that I supported Ellen with my level of consciousness, will support this woman who have brought war and untold suffering to our people. In 2014, some of us, we go far back. We fought Ellen when we were in Monrovia. We organized major protests. We rallied our comrades. Ellen bankrolled Josh Weah campaign. Have this brother asked himself the question, on what grounds the son of former President Sirleaf is released now from prison? After the core report on the 16 missing billions, the report is clear that there are monies that are unaccounted for. The monies came in two folds. One consignment of the 16 billion came on Madam Sirleaf, and another consignment of the new monies came on Josh Weah government. The report went further by indicting the both fiscal and monetary arm of the Liberian government, the central bank and the Ministry of Finance, respectively. You only arrested people from the all political order. You didn't even hold your own people accountable. You have Minister Sametwe. He was Minister of Finance when some of the monies came into the country. Some of the money came into the free port of Monrovia and the Roberts International Airport. You didn't investigate that. They went because they wanted to score political points. They arrested the son of former President Sirleaf. They put him in handcuffs. They paraded him. He was beyond bars for less than 2-3 days. They released him only because this man said he was sick. Have his doctors released his medical report for them to take him beyond bars? Economic sabotage is crime against the state. It's a first-degree felony under our law. I'm sure this guy is not even on bail bond. But they released former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's son unjustifiably because Ellen had threatened that if then to keep her son in prison, she would spill the beans. Ellen knew what's happening. Ellen knew exactly what happened. And Ellen is a political thinker. Let me say this here. She didn't even support her former vice president because she wanted to handpick somebody who is clueless and give him power. That's what Ellen did. Ellen is a political strategist. She knew that she had squandered the opportunities for nearly 12 years. So the way to do it was to bring somebody who is completely clueless, So the debate will not be about holding her accountable, about bringing her to court. The debate now will be about focusing on this, on this political excess baggage in George Weah. So now we as a nation and people must deal with this political excess baggage in George Weah. He came to power. This man was completely broke. The 2 houses he had in Monrovia, they were old and dilapidated. George Weah was war-based in 1992. How many years have that been from 1992 to 2019? You do the mathematics. It has been nearly over 26 years. You want to tell me that George Weah still has those billions that he had when he was playing soccer? He was living, he was eating. He owned properties here in the U.S. This man came to power after assuming the Liberian presidency and started to build duplexes. You don't want the people to question that? No, then you must be doing a disservice to the people.
So, in other words, from what I'm hearing, you guys suffer from the same thing, similarly to Sierra Leone, with selective justice. From what you're saying,
granted.
Wow.
Where people want to go after certain people, and the reason why they even arrested former President Salif's son was for a political show off, was to impress on the masses that they can arrest even the former president's son. But you kept him behind bar for less than 3 days, you release him. Where is the case? Charles Salif, the son of former President Salif, has never reappeared in court. It has been over nearly 7 months. Charles has never gone back to court. I challenge anybody to come on this platform here to tell me that Charles Salif have gone back to court. Even after the $25 missing billion, the government, through the office of the president, decided that to bring the foreign exchange rate to economic stability. While economists will tell you, price level stability is one of the major functions in macroeconomics. So it was to stabilize the foreign exchange rate. The government said that they were going to infuse $25 million to mop up excess liquidity in the Liberian economy. $25 million that they said they wanted to use. That $25 million is yet to be accounted for. It was another money-making scheme for Weah and his gang of thieves to live in luxury. Read a report from the core report. Read a report from the $25 million. George Weah is yet to hold his people accountable. It is that this president here is in the cookies jar. We don't mince our words. We owe no one, absolutely no one, an apology for our stance on critical national issues. If you like, call all kinds of names. We are African people. We look forward to a day where public office will be less attractive. When people come to public office, it should be on the basis of service, not on the basis of getting rich. You must live like your people live. You must live as your people are living. You are president of one of the most impoverished countries, but you own a private jet. But you come to the UN and beg for money. You think these people are stupid? We must think twice. So even Sierra Leoneans and Liberians, the way forward moving forward is for us to continue to intensify the debate and hold public officials to account. If tomorrow, even if the people give me the honor to go into the lower house to be a lawmaker or to be a member of parliament, I should go there and subject myself to the criticism of the people. The people must ask me to declare my asset. I should make these things public to the people. The people should tell me that they shouldn't even hear a news of corruption. But you think we hear to read Weah love letters? No. When our people in Monrovia do not, they go to bed hungry. They call here in the diaspora. They will call America. They will call London. They will call Canada. They will call for Mingo resources. We here, you know how we work tirelessly in this country. We work hours. We chip in with our Mingo resources. It's like we are banishing an old wound. The people are the true makers of their history. Only they will decide whether they will stay on a Weah presidency or they will ask them to leave. It is the people's right. It's guaranteed for by law. We cannot dictate the methodology of the people.
So that answered our question on our flyer. Is it only a Sierra Leonean problem? So it's obvious that it's an African problem.
It is an African problem.
Yes. And who do we hold accountable from your point of view or your perception? Who do you think we should hold accountable?
Well, you see, this is a very deep question. The leaders of Africa, they are not necessarily bad leaders. Your leader is a reflection of who you are. The clothes you wear is a reflection of your closet. So when people come to us during political season, do we drift on the real issues? Do we ask the critical questions that we do need to ask? No, but when Darlington stood for election, all the cool people would say they support him. That should not be the debate. When I stand for an election, the people must hold me accountable. When you were president at FV High School, what did you do? When you were freshman class president at the university, did you conduct yourself in public office? They must go back and investigate my track record. They must hold me to account. But the people don't do that. The people look for rice. They look for t-shirt. And after elections, the masses are left in the two tattered t-shirts of political people. The masses are only left with t-shirts of political party. Whether it is the SLPP, the Sierra Leone People Party, or the different political party. The only souvenir that the masses keep after elections is the t-shirts of political parties. When we take ballot boxes from the rural areas, what do we replace with them? When we take these people ballot boxes, it is our responsibility to take development and rural education for our people. When we bring the ballot boxes to Monrovia, it is our responsibility to take development to the masses. We cannot just limit development to the city. No. These people who live in the rural areas, they are not less of a human being. They are Sierra Leone citizens. They are Liberian citizens. All two countries must address the issues in these rural areas. Improve access to quality education. Enlighten the masses of the people. The peasants, put them to work on agriculture. Let them farm for themselves. Make them to farm on an industrial scale that they can produce what we eat and eat what we grow. Let your people have a level of consciousness. But you see, Liberian people, we are so meek. We sit down and fold our hands. But it is just about the time that never again, that after this we are nightmare, that when we wake up from this we are nightmare of a sleep, that anybody who wants the national highest seat will go through public scrutiny, no matter where you come from. And that is why I have never joined any political party. Because my role within the society is to look across the landscape. What is the student movement doing in these two countries? The South African, the Sierra Leone student movement, the Liberian National Student Union. These different student groupings, do they just clap behind the president and collect kickbacks? They must engage the government. They want to provide a historical forward march for the people. The peasants, these people do not have time to read books like you and I. They do not have time to read reports. That's why our mothers, the farmers, the fishermen, the dock workers, the tappers, the plantation workers, that is why they educate their sons to come back to the rural areas and be honest to them and tell them what is the historical march. I look forward to an Africa where all African people will be accepted, that we can invest within our resources. I go back with the construction of boarding schools. I want to see students coming from Gambia, students coming from Sierra Leone, going to school in Monrovia. We can improve access to quality education. That students will leave from the University of Liberia and will study at the Jalai University. One of my teachers who taught me political science. This guy is have graduated with a PhD degree at Jalai University. So yes, we are interconnected on the continent of Africa. Absolutely. We can build from their college to a dignified state. We must stop sending people here to Oxford, to send them to Harvard University, to London LSE, the London School of Economics.
Yes, I agree.
We can build our own LSE.
Absolutely.
We can build the Kwame Nkrumah Institute of Technology. We can do that. For Khadija, you see, the problem with us Africans is that it is the matter of thought process. We don't believe in ourselves. Mm-hmm. We believe that all we do here is to come and beg for money. When these people come for our resources, what do? Do we mortgage it to them? Or do we say to them, it's our people resources? We must use the resources for their own benefits. In 2008, Liberia discovered oil, crude oil. We set up an exploration committee to ensure one of those oil were of commercial quantity. It will shock you to know that international partner scheme to explore Liberian waters of offshore and onshore 17 oil blocks. Liberians, again, public officials cannot even account for oil money. It's a sad story. It's a tragedy. So that is the problem. So until this administration can go back with the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Code, there'll be no format. These people, they are holding us like they keep leeches on our neck because we beg for money. They say, okay, since you want money, go bring War Crimes Code. The United Nations have the Millennium Development Goal, the SDGs. There are thematic issues, there are monies, there are resources at the different UN organs that individual African countries can tap into. What do our leaders do? They give them petty cash, they cannot even account for UN money in Liberia. The UN had to write a joint communication to ask Judge Weah to account for their monies, for their project monies.
Wow.
It's a sad story. But again, you know.
So like, you know, how do we, as we spoke about, you know, emancipating our minds from mental slavery, how do we help these people that are good with pulling down syndrome, you know, against people like us that speak for the voiceless, so on and so forth, as long as the intention is not out of malice? How do we help them from that state of mind, the pulling down syndrome? No matter what you do, they said, oh, well, you're talking against the president because you don't want him, so on and so forth, even when the obvious is there. What would be your advice in that area?
You see, I say this, activists are like sacrificial lamb. They lay on the altar of social justice and human dignity. And there will be many Delilahs to request for our heads, like they requested for John the Baptist's head. Critical voices are not just ordinary people. Sometimes we don't even have the luxury of time to focus on our own personal life. We look at the development of the vast majority of our people. Sometimes we even forget to eat. But again, you see, it's our calling. And like former president of Ghana, former president of, of South Africa, of glorious memory, Nelson Mandela, he said to the student on his 95th birthday that you must never give up the struggle for social justice and human dignity. That was Mandela. Yes. Even Nkrumah, when he visited Sierra Leone at Frobe College, invited into the country, he advised young Sierra Leone students that the struggle for Africa must not just stop here, that you must now think outside of the box. Nkrumah visited Sierra Leone. What happened after these great leaders have trekked on the continent? What kind of Africa will they inherit? It's the lack of consciousness. How many university students are willing to leave from the cities to go to the rural areas and educate our people? We must ensure seedbed programs. We must ensure a process where young brothers will come from the universities and will go to the urban set, to the rural areas, and to teach the peasants of our people. Let them educate the people. Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, they call him Mwalimu in Swahili, it means teacher. He said that we must educate our people in our local language. So what did they do? He found out. He said, we must teach these people here in Swahili. So every word you find in the English dictionary, they put it in Kiswahili. Whether it is hello, jambo, water, maji, news, muzuri. They code every word in it. There is no word you find in the English dictionary that you do not find in Swahili. Can we do that in Africa? Can Sierra Leone follow that? Whether it is Timini, whether it is Mende, Liberians, whether it is Vai, can we educate the peasants in their local languages? Don't bring your dictionaries to them. The people are not interested in your Webster dictionary. These peasants are economists. They are doctors. How do you think our mothers they will help deliver women? They were midwives. They didn't say that in science classes. They're born simply by nature. These are strong people. We must teach our people in our local language. Let these people have political consciousness, that they too can feel a part of the national politics or border politics of the state. Not just the conscious class, not just Morovia, not just Freetown. but into the trenches. Educate your people. See about constructing libraries for students, internet facilities. I tell you, if we tap on the resources of our rural areas, we will grow medical doctors, professional lawyers. Young brothers will teach themselves. How do you think people who never sat in classroom can memorize the Quran, they memorize the Bible? Brilliant people. And African people, we are resilient people. We have come from hard struggle. We know struggle. We know what is hunger. So we can educate our people. But we don't, you know. We keep these people in shanty towns. We want to give them rice and t-shirts and think that is their life. The people must expand with economic capital. The private sector must be the engine of growth. We must look at these future men who goes on deep waters and bring customers projects into the country. Young brothers who need jobs, we must allow them to go to technical vocational institute. How can you do that? Engage with international partners. When they give you $50,000, ensure that you are reporting on time. Sometimes corruption do not necessarily mean that monies were missing. It's because in the county, you must report within a particular time. That is what is our standard operating procedure? Do we report on time? Do we give financial reports when they are necessary to give them, or we give excuses?
Great one. So, talking about the late Nelson Mandela, how can we as Africans forgive South Africans of what they did to our other African country, Nigeria?
I think South Africa should be expelled from the African Union. You see, we must teach these South African people that with that level of consciousness, we expect these people to be very conscious. I'm a student of the South African Revolution. I have books here on Steve Biko. I read Biko. We see students like the head of the student uprising in Soweto, Comrade Chesi Mashelini. These were people who fought for a unified Africa. You come here and step on the bones of Oliver Tambo. You step on the bones of Chris Honey. You vilify your African people. You call Nigerians names. You go after a Zimbabwean in your country. No. There are backward people of every nationality. There are backward Nigerians. There are backward Liberians. So there are backward Sierra Leoneans. But we must cultivate the spirit of Pan-Africanism and call on world leaders to go to the African Union and take action on South Africa. Even if South Africa will be expelled for 5 years, let them stay on an island. Let them stay on an island. You think you come here, you kill your African brother, you set them ablaze, and you say sorry to us? No. People must be held accountable. So South Africa now should be expelled from the African Union. If I was representing Liberia now, I would be rallying world leaders that we must expel South Africa for obvious reasons. You cannot do that to us. Is that the Africa that Mandela will come and inherit? Walter Sisulu, Governor Mbeki, these brothers who fought, who went to prison.
The behavior of this set of South Africans, can we also call that a self-hate? Because some of us suffer from that.
It is the problem of the mind.
Yeah.
They believe that Nigerians, businessmen are doing well and they are doing so good, so the way to kick them out of the economy is to run them out and burn them out. No. If these Nigerians are making good resources, you ask yourself the question, how are these Nigerians succeeding? If these Mandingos merchants in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, they are good businessmen, we must ask ourselves, what are the methodology they are using? How can we learn from them? If these Fula people are good business people, what kind of habit can we cultivate from them?
Yes.
But we do not do that. We are all African people. We factionalize our people. We create artificial borders between Watersa and Monrovia. We create all kinds of unnecessary border between Zimbabwe and South Africa, Tanzania and Mozambique. When even during the South African struggle, we hosted Nelson Mandela. He was a Liberian citizen. We gave him a Liberian passport. Mandela, he flew. He came to Monrovia for hostage. Is that the way you pay our African brothers? We too are connected to Nigeria during our civil upheaval. Do you know how many Nigerian peacekeepers that died on Liberian soil?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do that to Africa. It's a great disservice, and it's only about time that the African Union takes punitive measure against South Africa. Mm-hmm. Even during the funeral of Comrade Mugabe, the former president of Zimbabwe, you could see that the current president of South Africa was not even welcome, Cyril Ramaphosa. The masses started to boo him on the stadium. He was never welcome. Sharing crocodile tears and offering apology is not the way forward. Let South Africa know that South Africa, if you like, can be the political Mecca of Africa. You know the Islamic people, eh? They say Mecca is the place where they go, like on a religious pilgrimage. The Christian brothers will tell you they want to go to Jerusalem and see where Jesus lay. So it's the same with South Africa. We envy the South African people for their resilience. Students will walk miles and shout Amakla Awetu. Students took military training for the very first time when South African students went to Namibia and took military training. The same in Guinea. When the Portuguese attempted to invade Guinea, it was the student movement headed by Comrade Ahmed Sekou Touré who beat back imperial forces. Mm-hmm. So Africa, we are vibrant people, we're powerful people. What do is to take action now on South Africa. So if they stay out for 5 years, the day we bring them back, they will treat Africans with respect and dignity.
Absolutely. I strongly agree. On that note, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to partake in relevant issue with the Critical Thinking Talk Show. I'm going to give you the chance, this opportunity to say your last word before I make closing remarks. Thank you, sir. Come in.
My last words, this is a very, 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 very critical thing. But what can I say? It is always a privilege, and I'm humbled by that, for the fact that I can come on your platform to talk about Africa. We do not do these things for personal recognition. When I come on people's live podcasts, views is good, but I love to deal with a better few than better. I love to deal with a set handful of rational people who would think, the immortality of people who will not understand. So we take this opportunity to say here on your platform that all of us are African people, Sierra Leoneans, Liberians, we are one people. Mm-hmm. I'm a political person. If tomorrow the government of the day do not want me in Monrovia, I can go down to Freetown and live as a professional man and earn a job. I shouldn't be kicked out of Sierra Leone. If I'm qualified and competent, let me work within the Sierra Leone economy. When brothers in Sierra Leone feel cheated, they can go to Liberia. That is their home. Should be the motherland.
Yeah.
That is why we welcome ECOWAS. That I don't need a visa to go to Sierra Leone. I can just have my ECOWAS passport and next thing I'm in Freetown.
Yes.
I can go to Ghana.
Yes.
So it's always a privilege. So
wonderful.
As I leave your platform, let me say here that we struggle not because we take pleasure in talking political rhetoric. We struggle so that we change the objective condition of the new generation that will come and inherit this stage after us. That when the time comes, like they say in Christendom, when the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Salute. And I'm going to let you go now before I make my closing statement. You'll hear from me soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Collins. God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Fellow Sierra Leonean, my advice for us today, as we come to the end of this show, let us remember to be our differences. When we are able to focus on our commonalities, we are more likely to achieve our common goal than we are when we focus on or pointing out our weaknesses. Let us learn to celebrate our strength. If your friend possess quality or qualities that you are lacking, get to that friend, help to build him or her. Take example of Ronaldo and his friend. His friend made the ultimate sacrifice for Ronaldo. In the end, he will never be broke. As in the case of Ronaldo, not only cared for his blood family, but also showed his gratitude to that selfless friend that allowed Ronaldo to make the final score that started the beginning of his career. Albert Fanter, if that's the correct pronunciation, was given not only a special recognition publicly by Ronaldo, but will remain wealthy for the rest of his life because of his selfless act. He knows how much Ronaldo wanted to achieve his goal and decided that giving Ronaldo a chance was more important than his own soccer career. When we're able to embrace each other and sincerely happy to see each other happy, to see each other pursue their career path, their goal, then will be the beginning of a united Africa. Are you willing to be the next Albert Frantos, if that's his name, the friend of Ronaldo? Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. Wake up, Africa. Let us remind each other of the following quote from Dr. Matthew Luther King Jr. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The world suffered a lot, not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. William Wilberforce once said, "You may choose to look the other way, but you can never again say that you did not know." I want to take this opportunity once again to say thank you to our guests tonight, and also to send special thank you to some of the individual in my life that I can consider to be Albert, the friend of Ronaldo, Mr. Mohammed Sisse of Maryland, Mr. Abubakar Bangura of Atlanta, Georgia, Madam Katrina Korma of Holland, Madam, most recently I have also another great advisor from Mr. Patrick Foyer. I thank you, sir. Madam Salimatu of United Kingdom, Mr. Sanko Yila of Canada, my dear cousin, Mr. Almami Kale of Maryland, Mr. Lawrence of United Kingdom, to each of you whom I failed to mention your name, to all the devoted men and women of this platform, those of you who take time out of your hectic schedule to share, partake in relevant discussion, to each of you whom have supported me morally or financially, those of you who have worked with me to prepare our platform to the next level, I salute each of you. To my critic, I thank you for your daily motivation in my life. I receive all critique with humility and use it as an opportunity to improve my weaknesses and prepare me for a better me. For I strongly believe that each day one should provide or make room for improvement. I, Khadija Tijanabi, remains a work in progress. Above all, I thank God Almighty for his endless sacrifice and blessing. Finally, I want to thank Mr. Darlington Collins for your time, your views today from both our Sierra Leone community, Liberian community, and beyond. Together, we can make a better Mama Salon. Until next time, this is the Critical Thinking Talk Show with your host, Khadija Tijan Nabi. God bless Sierra Leone. God bless the Republic of Liberia. And God bless the United States of America. And God bless each of us. Bye for now.